It's August 25th, 2025. I am at Joel Pearl, and it's time to get in the weeds. A marvelous Monday for everyone. Jeremy Lambert is here. You know who I am. How you doing, pal? How's your weekend?
Busy, wrestling was allegedly on all weekend, so
Was?
a lot of wrestling.
Really?
Yeah.
I watched like no wrestling. That's the
Oh,
thing.
okay. That sounds
Yeah.
nice.
It was great. I spent most of my time just hanging out with family and, not really up to much. It was good. So I don't know what we're going to talk about then for a plethora of hours.
I don't know either.
No. All right. Did you do anything fun to get outside?
No, I watched wrestling. I literally just said that.
You may have gone outside for at least a minute.
Nope.
Huh. Like not even for like 10 seconds just to enjoy some weather.
Nope.
Raining the whole time where you are?
No, well, it was fine. I just didn't go outside.
You know what? In a way, I respect it. All right, I watched the shows. I watched all the shows. I got outside, but I watched the damn shows. Referees, some of the worst referees in wrestling this weekend. Across all brands, they all screwed up in some way, shape, or form. They all tried to screw somebody. We're going to talk about that. We got plenty to talk about. Forbidden Door was yesterday morning, yesterday afternoon, depending where you are. If you're in the UK, then it was in the evening, which is normal for you, but abnormally in the morning for us. And also, what else we got? SmackDown was on. That was a show that happened, but it was in the afternoon on a Friday, so that was nice. And Heatwave was last night, allegedly. Stuff did happen. Talk a little bit about that. But for now, how about you leave a thumbs up on the video, huh? We do this every single day, 5 days a week, 10 a.m. Eastern here on this channel. We love just talking. We're just two old yappers. That's what we do. And sometimes there's fireworks when we do the thumbs up gimmick. This is a whole thing. Ah, there it is. Thumbs up. And while we're at it, you can also subscribe to the channel. Here at Fightful Overbooked, we drop content every single day. Stuff coming, stuff going, stuff posting. Let's go. Even the shorts. The shorts are taking off. Lex Luger punching a guy. It's taking off.
As it should. That was a good short.
It was a good short,
Thank you
actually. Yeah, good on you. Good on you, the director of content over here. And while you're at it, you can donate a super chat and get your question or your statement read on the air. We always appreciate that. It helps support the creators who work very hard and tirelessly on this particular platform. Where do you want to start? Should we get right into the Forbidden Door? Or do you want to talk about SmackDown?
I don't even remember what happened on SmackDown, honestly. John Cena, that's all I remember.
Got punched out twice for two different airings.
So I watched the international airing, obviously, because I covered it then because, it was much easier for me. And when I watched it live, that punch looked so awful. Just so terrible. I was like, wonder if they're going to redo this, reshoot it, how they're going to do this. And then I didn't watch the nightly airing because why am I going to rewatch a show I've already seen? But obviously I did see the clip of them reshooting it. Didn't look good there either. I understand Logan's pulling his punches, like, good. But also I'm pretty sure Cena's taking enough punches to be like, you can lay it in a little bit. Like, you got to at least make it look pretty good there.
Yeah, but then he's going to have to deal with the receipt afterwards in Paris. You ever paid Paris healthcare prices? I have not. So I couldn't tell you. But you're right. I mean, he pulling your punches, yes. You should do that in wrestling. It's also on the camera op to maybe get the angle that would best serve the shot.
But they tried two different angles, and neither of them were good.
Well, then I don't know who to blame in this case.
I blame Logan.
That's true.
Logan threw a bad punch.
Twice.
Because the side angle wasn't good, and then the behind the Cena angle wasn't good. So the only other angle would have been if you're shooting it behind Logan, but in reality, because Logan is sneaking up on him, there doesn't need to be a camera behind Logan. So that it doesn't make that much sense. I guess he could have shot it because you're shooting it from Cena and you're shooting all this right there. But just throw a better punch. That's not on the camera work. That's on you got to throw a better punch than that. I thought the first angle was good, like the side showing it from the side there, but the punch just sucked. Like the punch has got to be better.
I think all wrestlers should be wearing the meta glasses so that all camera angles are the angles of the wrestler. It's all just the wrestlers that you're looking at. It's person to person, one to one, real meta, if you will. That's what they should do, and then that way the wrestling is more real. And in the ring, they tape them onto their faces. Then that way you never miss a shot. Everything is just right, like pow, right in your face, Jeremy. Like pow. It's like you're getting hit in the face.
Pow, right in the kisser.
Pow, right in the kisser. Well, we don't do that. I mean, 2025 can't really use that anymore. It's kind of gone the way of the Tropic Thunder, but you know.
But it's a dated, people get the reference. I'm not referencing what they're referencing. It's just
I know. It's fair.
A television show reference.
Listen, our boss is getting two people puppets so that they can review a movie that has also aged terribly.
Yeah.
So who are we to bring it up? That being said, yeah, everyone should just wear the meta glasses. I think that would be perfect. Well, you disagree?
I mean, it can't be worse. It just sucked.
It wasn't good.
The punch sucked.
It wasn't good. I don't know what to expect from that match next weekend, other than not much. And also this setup of just being like, I have from Brock Lesnar, and they're like, oh, I didn't want to hear that shit either. It's like, could we not? So we're stuck with the match in Paris. What do you think of the promo with Cena basically cutting down Logan Paul, being like, I didn't want you. I wanted literally everyone else that people like on this roster.
What I thought of that promo is they really fucking wasted 5 months of a robotic heel John Cena when he could have been out here fine speeching everybody for the entire 5 months. He could have done this as a heel too, mind you. He could have done the fine speech stuff. And I know I didn't say fine speech to Logan, but he could have done this same thing as a heel in promos against Cody. And he did a little bit with Cody, leading up to WrestleMania. The promos with Orton weren't good. The truth stuff wasn't good. And then his all delivery with everything was so bad on top of all that. It's like, man, it could have just been so much better. But everyone knows it could have been better. This was just more evidence of like, yeah, you had something and then you did nothing with it.
Yeah, I saw it and I was like, oh, well, we could have had this. That's all we get. We had friends over this past weekend. And I know it's unfortunate. And I was talking with one of them, one of our friends, and he was talking about watching Peacemaker. And I haven't watched Peacemaker yet, but he was saying how much he enjoyed it. And we started talking because my wife brought up like what we do, the two of us, for a living. And he was like, oh, you're into wrestling. And I'm like, yeah, I cover it for whatever. And I do a morning show, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I don't like it, but I cover it.
I mean, God, listen, let's be honest. But I'm explaining like what I do, and he wanted to see like the studio type setup here. And so as we're talking about that in Peacemaker, he was like, oh, wrestling. So he said, I wasn't super into it when I was younger, or never really got into it, but I really like Peacemaker, so blah, blah, blah. I heard John Cena like turned heel. And so we kind of got into the back and forth of it. And he mentioned The Rock. He mentions Dwayne Johnson. He's like, it's amazing how John Cena has adapted to like the superhero comic book kind of presentation of a character on TV, not in wrestling. Whereas it feels like Dwayne just kind of like, has burnt down every bridge he's tried to work under. And I'm like, yeah, well, he did it in wrestling recently too. And he's like, oh, of course he did. And that became a whole conversation about what happened with John Cena and Dwayne going into WrestleMania, and like how it feels like Dwayne just kind of walked away, left everyone high and dry, and said, my work here is done, when he hadn't done any work other than, lighting a fuse and walking away. It was just very funny, the conversation, talking to someone who is not a wrestling fan, but is very well aware of who from wrestling is on his TV at any given time. So all this to say, yeah, the 5 months, it's absolutely amazing that it got ruined. And I was thinking about this too the other day. Remember when we were doing WrestleMania talk, and it was like, okay, John Cena wins, and everyone was like, oh, it's beyond just getting number 17. He's going to bring that title to all those big interviews, and he's going to be on Fallon, he's going to be on this show and that show. He didn't do one of those things. That title was never with him for any like big appearance. He just won it, and then it was like, he's on SmackDown this week. And it's like, oh, we already knew he's the champion there. There was no expected brand kind of crossover promotion, whatever, with John Cena winning that everyone was like so, expecting out of this title win. He just showed up and he won the title, and then he was the bad guy on TV again. I thought that was very interesting, thinking back about that. But yeah, we'll see what the last few months of Cena will look like. Obviously, Friday was fine. I'm not looking forward to the Logan Paul match. I don't think many people are, but if it's for you, great. It's just clearly not for Jeremy or myself. So
what do you mean it's not for me?
I mean, you're talking it down just as much as I am. So I don't know if you're
talked down the punch. I think the match will be good.
No, you don't. You think it'll suck?
No, I think the match will be good. Logan's matches are good. They're well put together, and he's very athletic, and so they can, hide a lot of weaknesses. And Cena, as a babyface, he shows up as a babyface. He's still got his strength. He'll work from underneath. I truthfully think the match will be good. Like, great, probably not. Crowd will be into it. That'll help everything. Again, Logan does the things that he's very good at, and they will do those things in this match. I thought Cena's promo was great on Friday. And if it's bad, as Jay Girls points out, then I'm going to love it even more. So the match is fine. I know people are mad about it because it's Logan and John Cena. I understand that. Could they have done better things with John Cena in this run? Yeah, but again, they could have done that months ago with this. They're doing a Logan Paul match. I think a Logan Paul match was always on the table for Cena, whether he was heel, babyface, whatever it might have been. I think this match was always on the table for John Cena. And then as a heel, they weren't going to go to it, but now that he's back babyface, they're going to it.
And of course, Cena, he just plays them as they're dealt to him. So he was going to go with it anyway.
Yeah.
That's it. The rest of the show was what it was. Becky Lynch did the opening promo that set up the main events. You liked it?
Great promo. Yeah.
I didn't hate it. I thought it was pretty good. The coming out and running down. I like that she runs down the town, but instead of doing the you don't deserve it, like she does the you don't deserve it, but it's like you as a town don't deserve it. And I went so far as to try to shut this down. I didn't want this event even happening. I like that she went that far. I thought that was really, really well done. She's just a solid mind for wrestling, and the promo worked to her advantage. And like I said, they turned it into the main event. They brought out Tiffany Stratton, and then Jay Cargill and Nia Jax come out, and that it's an easy setup. And I get it. It's a very like bottle episode type of setup for a match. Normally, when this happens, people are like, "Well, what was the main event supposed to be?" And I guess you could argue Aleister Black and R-Truth was supposed to be the main event, but we later on would find out why that wasn't to be, and they set up something else. But yeah, it was good. She played the hot American husband thing and talked about, was it offline or online, I should say, not on the show. She's like, I got an invitation to the White House before I got an invitation to the Irish consulate or whatever, or Irish.
That was on the international version that I watched. So
I think maybe that was something she said on Twitter, and not something she said in the promo.
No, she said it on the promo.
Oh, she did say in the promo. Okay.
Yeah.
Either way, I thought it was good. It was a good start. Becky's great, and having her show up in her home country and be able to diffuse the crowd, who are obviously going to love the hometown person, was really solid stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, Zeno said, pointing out it was also in the promo. Good.
Yeah, again, maybe it wasn't in the American feed, but it was on the international feed that I was watching. So yeah, that was in the promo. No, I thought it was a great promo because she got a big reaction. She's Becky Lynch turning to Ireland, first show. It's like, all right, how do you turn the crowd against you as a heel instead of doing what everyone wants to do, and that's, oh, I'm the hometown person. Doesn't matter if I'm a heel or babyface. I want to get the cheers. Becky doesn't care. Becky's actually playing her role and doing it excellently. Wow. Becky, I thought her promo was great.
Yeah, and it set up the tag match, which was fun.
And
also,
the chant for Lyra. She turned the Lyra chant and like, well, she ain't gonna be here in a Wrestling Dark match, but like she ain't gonna be here. She ain't challenging for this title ever again. It was good stuff. And Becky's so good, so good.
And this is clearly a character that she sunk her teeth into. Not that she doesn't with her other iterations, but this is one where she has the experience, she has the time, she's doing more, and she also is trying to put over people while she's doing it as a bad guy, which is what you're supposed to do as a bad guy. It's not about putting yourself over the whole time. It's also about elevating other people around you so that those people can then elevate the story and elevate you at the same time. And I thought that was some good stuff. So happy that they went ahead and did that. Damian Priest is back.
Yeah. And I thought they were gonna announce the Clash in Paris match, but maybe that's coming this week. I don't know.
If they don't, they'll just run it on SmackDown next week.
And it feels like they need another SmackDown match on Clash in Paris, though, because it's pretty Raw heavy right now.
It feels like that's typically what happens with a lot of these outside PLEs, because SmackDown is either loaded up or they have more story. They have more time to announce on Raw so that they get it to the show. Whereas on SmackDown, although they go all the way up to the wire with match announcements. That's the way it's felt for the last little while.
They've already loaded up SmackDown this upcoming week with Sami and Solo, the women's tag team title match, and the number one contenders for the tag team title match. So that's 3 kind of big matches already for SmackDown. So yeah, I would think this would be on Clash, unless they're just gonna hold it off. But I don't know. Do you really need an extended Damian Priest and Aleister Black feud?
Well, there are already 4 matches announced, and a 5th one presumably announced tonight. The 5th one being the Women's World Championship match.
Yeah.
And they haven't announced the Intercontinental Championship match, if there will be one.
I don't think that's going to be on the show. I still think that's WrestlePalooza. But maybe...
That's fair. I think that's the good point.
Maybe it will be. But then, okay, your 6 matches, there's 1 SmackDown match. Cena and Logan's the only SmackDown match. That's the only reason I'm like, feels like you need to add another SmackDown match to this thing. Maybe they're not going to, but it feels like they are. I assume tonight we will get the women's world title announcement. Stephanie, Io, Rhea, Roxanne, some combination of those 4 for Clash in Paris. Maybe they prolong it to WrestlePalooza, but it feels a little weird to announce Vacker for Clash in Paris and then be like, oh, never mind, Stephanie Vacker is not going to wrestle on Clash in Paris. We're just not going to do a women's title match for this. Yeah, Randy and Drew, maybe that's the Paris match. I could see that.
Yeah, I could do that and then have Cody come back and set up the match for Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Could easily do that. Have Randy win by costing Drew, or Drew beats Randy and then Cody comes out and avenges whatever happened.
Drew's winning.
Yeah, Drew should win, but I mean, we said the same thing at SummerSlam with, it could have been Drew and it could have been the other way around, Randy and Logan, and then we'd ask Randy and Jelly Roll could have won, and then we would have been asking what's next for Drew and Logan Paul. But no, I agree. Drew should win.
If you're setting up Drew and Cody, there's no point in having Randy beat Drew. I don't care if Cody costs them. That's dumb. That's just extremely stupid. It should be Drew winning. And then, all right, if Cody wants to return after, fine. But it would be very stupid to have Randy beat Drew and then be like, yeah, anyway, Drew's challenging for the title next month.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what they add because, like I said, 4 matches now, 5th one presumably being added tonight, maybe even a 6th. They've got, the world title match, and that's the only title match right now that's announced. So I'm curious about how much they're really putting into this show at this point because
what's the only title match?
Friday, the world title match, the 4-way.
Oh, right. I forgot about that.
That's the only world title match, which it's fine. Again, I think the Indianapolis event as quickly come together as it feels like it has been, that probably move some stuff around. And of course, on the women's side, everything with Naomi's pregnancy clearly has shifted plans. It's it's very close proximity to each other's shows. They're running here's the other side of it. From this show to the next one, the Indianapolis show, it'll be about 3 weeks. And just compared it to AEW, they're going to add an extra week because Paris is next week for WWE, and they just did Forbidden Door. But the shows are on the same day, coming up on the 20th. So, like, in terms of how we get to the next shows, they have about 3-4 weeks individually to set up the stories, which means it's not impossible. You can do it. Back in the day, that's what the WWF had, was about 3-4 weeks to set up. It's just now we're pushing the wire on this Paris show, and on a typically 5-match card, you're either going to load up the SmackDown before and the Raw afterwards. You got to remember, they're still in Paris for that Raw, aren't they? So they also want to load up that Raw to entice people to come for the 3rd night in a row. Pretty sure it's 3 nights. I know Australia. I'm stuck with Australia too in my brain.
Yeah, that's what's throwing me off too.
I'm going to double check, but I'm almost certain that they're running the 3 nights there. They're doing SmackDown in Lyon, Paris, and then Paris for Raw. And then they're in Chicago on the Friday, so I assume we'll see CM Punk on Friday on SmackDown for a treat.
Maybe. I mean, Cena's on the
SmackDown.
Chicago show. Yeah. Maybe CM Punk will be on there. The brand split doesn't exist, so sure, CM Punk can show up.
This is very funny. Just looking at so on WWE's event calendar, they now have, or they have had, but now they have like Roman Reigns is like the feature graphic for tonight for Raw in Birmingham. And then on SmackDown, you've got the John Cena photo with the SmackDown logo. If you go on their events page, and then on the September 5th, he's there. And then you've got Brock on the 12th. He's featured on that particular SmackDown poster. And then the next Raw is John Cena, and then it's again Brock Lesnar. I've never seen them kind of do this type of promotion on their events page. I think that's smart. But yeah, they're in France for those 3 days, and they're gonna have to load up those 3 days of cards. So I can see them having a busy SmackDown and a busy Raw, and doing the 5-match Clash card. They got to fill up the rooms.
Yeah, we'll see if they announce the women's world title match tonight. If so, that brings you up to 5, which they typically like, and then see if something gets added on SmackDown, or they just roll with the 5 and have some other stuff on Raw for that Monday.
They're going to be like, we did a 15-match card over 3 days in Paris, and we made this much money, and it's the most. They always find a way to spin it, and that's just what they do.
They don't care about the match cards. They will definitely mention the money, though. They love the money.
Yeah, the joke of the match card. But yes, it's absolutely how much money they made over those 3 days, and they're going to, justified with inflation, and then with how these seats and that seats. That's the one thing. The OCD person who had to tabulate the O2 Arena stats for AEW last night, being 8 seats shy of a round number. It really bugged me, and it bugged Excalibur too. Like, oh, if we could have put in 8 more seats, we would have. I was like, thank you for at least acknowledging how much of a frustrating moment that was. 992, get 8 people in this building. Don Callis family should have bought tickets.
Don Callis family, if they were counted, then they easily hit the number.
We don't know how they do that anymore. Back in the day, it used to be, Vince would want everyone under the roof to be counted. If you're being paid to be there, you were part of it. But now it feels like they're doing more. If you're a fan in the seats, that is what's counted. If you've paid money, or allegedly paid money, because comp seats exist. If you're a butt in the seat, then it just kind of, there you go. That would be the number. It seems like they're doing a bit more true to form when they announce their figures at this point, except for the Vegas figures that just came out, which they weren't too far off. The official Vegas figures from what Brandon had, and again, that comes down to like counting suites and stuff like that. So there are some numbers that you just don't have access to, that when you make a records request like that, you get a proper answer, but they're close enough. Numbers are weird.
I miss the old days. Inflate it by 10,000. It's much funnier.
93,173. That's the number you'll always need to remember.
AEW should have announced, like 2,500. 25,000, sorry. They should have announced 25,000 for the show
That
last
would have been
night.
perfect. They should have
Just
done
to,
it.
eh,
Oh,
just to
so
really.
they got to dig in there. It'd be like the most attended wrestling event at the O2. They got to add a little bit. That was nice. Needly.
Yeah, WWE's about to add an O2 show to their calendar within the next month to break that. I don't think WWE cares about the attendance at this point.
They just want to get the money.
Yeah, they're more concerned about like the gate with everything. Like they'll take 500 less people if it means 500,000 more dollars.
Yeah. Oh, I like this. Can we put people on top of the cage, strap them in? That's what WWE would do, and they call it an on-location experience. They would absolutely be like, you can get a seat on the top of the cage for the whole show, and they just strap you in and hope to God that it's legal and health and safety regulated.
Yeah, they could have added more seats if they didn't have to have that giant ass cage around there. The cage prevented them from hitting 1,900.
I don't think that the
19,000.
ringside area was really that
I don't think it was
changed.
either.
No, it looked pretty normal to me.
Yeah.
I appreciated that. No, you know what it is? It's that giant stupid LED board that comes in the O2 arena that's above the entranceway. That's what stopped them. They could have done it, but they didn't get it.
Yeah.
Those damn 8 seats could have done it. They messed it up. Could have put 8 more seats in a box, and that would have been enough.
Yeah, they could have just had people sitting crisscross applesauce style. I just counted them.
Yep. Just had them rotate out on commentary. That counts.
Yeah, did the commentators get counted?
No, because they're part of the show.
No.
That's the problem. It's people who either paid for a ticket or were in a position to have paid for a ticket.
The
I
Bucks
say that
should have
because,
gotten counted then. They should have counted the Bucks.
That would have been very funny. They should have counted the Bucks. Someone should ask, "Hey Tony, in your count, in your figures, do you include extra talent like the Young Bucks, like Matt and Nick Jackson? Are they part of this count, or is that specifically reserved for people who have a designated seat in the arena at the show?" Thank you.
That would require good questions for Tony.
We can talk about that in a few minutes. I got nothing else from SmackDown, and as Clash gets closer, we'll talk about that on Friday. But yeah, I can't believe we actually talked about SmackDown right off the hilt. I didn't think we needed to, but we did it.
And
Good for us.
we got your rule of 45 before the thumbnail.
Yeah, we got to get people in and getting ready for us. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Let's hit a
little foreplay.
Yeah, you gotta build to it. Kim Gray sends a super chat saying, "Hey guys, got to meet Tommy Dreamer Saturday night at AEW Wrestling. Bo got to hand him a garbage can during the match. I love wrestling. I'm glad you had fun. I can't believe you got to meet the ghost of Tommy Dreamer. Congratulations. It's good to see that Bo has that sentient touch. Did he physically like Sixth Sense? Like I see dead people handing him the garbage can. That's impressive. Glad you had a good time at EPW.
Oh, it sounds cool that Bo got to hand him a garbage can for his match. That's cool.
Yeah, I love it. Honestly, maybe it's because I'm a dad now. When I see wrestlers interacting happily with kids, I'm like, that's what it's all about. And I think it's really cool to see at indie shows, televised events, whatever it is, like when they go out of their way to make a kid's day, that always makes me happy. And that makes me kind of respect the performer a little bit more.
Yeah. And indie shows, it's, very easy to interact with kids and stuff. I give Trevor Outlaw a lot of credit because he's not a babyface. He's a dick, but he does very good with like antagonizing kids and like making them feel like they're part of the show. And then in turn, whoever Trevor's facing, the babyface can, fight back, and the babyface gets the kid involved as well. So it takes a good heel to be a dick to the kids, and then it takes a good baby face to let the kids be like, all right, hey, why don't you hit this dude and get involved with things.
This is just to prove my point that Tommy Dreamer is not a creative mastermind. He could have gone on the indies and made $1 billion just by becoming a ghost character. All he has to do is just paint himself up to look like a ghost, like just ghostly white or I can't say wear a sheet over your head because that's just going to be completely misconstrued. But you know what I mean. A ghost on Halloween, the Charlie Brown and the eye. Anyway, point is he can dress himself up as a ghost, but he's not doing it. Instead, he's just being like, "I'm not dead," and it's like, come on, Tommy, have fun with the gimmick. Your name was mentioned on nationally televised Netflix, internationally, and instead you're just like, "I'm going to work this match like normal." Come on, Tommy.
So Wheeler mentioning MJF pouring the drink on the kid. That might have been
a little
too much. But remember when Ospreay let that kid chop MJF and it was like the greatest moment of all time? That kid got on television talking about the experience and everything. The minor thing, but Jey Uso letting the kid say yeet the other day on Raw, last week, literally. Like that's cool stuff for these kids. So
as silly as it was, the John Cena kid in Brussels.
Yeah, that kid, he just got pointed out, and
but again, like he was part of the show, and
right.
he got interviewed on like the local television because of it. Stuff like that is always hilarious.
Yeah, it's good stuff when the wrestlers recognize, hey, let's get some kids involved with these things, because nobody's more excited at these shows than kids for the most part. So you get them involved, you look good or bad depending on how you're trying to look, and then the kids remember that stuff forever. And then other people see that and it's like, oh cool, that's a cool moment, like I want a cool moment like that. Or they tell their friends and it's like, oh man, I went to this wrestling show and this happened. Maybe their friends are like, oh, that's so cool, like I want to go to this wrestling show now. So it's easy work if you can just understand how to do it.
I mean, most of the responses are actually, ew, wrestling, that stuff's fake, right?
I don't know if that's I don't know what it is nowadays. I'm not in school. I don't know how these kids react to things. Maybe they are like, yeah, wrestling, that sounds dumb. But depending on what age you are, I think some of these kids might be like, oh, that's so cool that you had this experience at a wrestling event.
I mean, listen, my kid is an asshole. He will run around and tell other kids about Santa. Again, we're Jews, and my son knows the Santa deal. So he'll tell them. And I'm like, kid, stop it. You cannot do this. We cannot be doing this at your age. But my kid's a dick, so it works.
He needs to be hit with more fridge doors, clearly.
It could be what's causing him to do these things. I don't know. He's enough of a handful. It's fine. Fourth grader boys still yelling they still love yelling John Cena.
Yes, they should.
Good to know. They should. My kid is the goat. My kid's all right. He's a good kid most of the time. He was exhausted yesterday. My God, that was a whole other can of worms.
All the wrestling.
No. Although the fact that he passed out for almost 2 hours gave me a big window to watch most of Forbidden Door like live as it happened, and then I got to catch the last 2 matches afterwards, like after he went to sleep, and then watch Heatwave. So like I didn't have to stay up too late to get through wrestling, especially because Heatwave was over by like 9:45. So that made things easy. But yeah, let's talk about Forbidden Door?
Okay.
It was a show that happened, and it was fine. Anyway, NXT Heatwave. No, let's talk about this. Overall thoughts with Forbidden Door was it's a show that didn't overstay its welcome. I thought it was good in a lot of places. I thought there were certain moments that really annoyed me, which is pretty par for the course with wrestling. But overall, it served its purpose. The UK crowd always loves going to these shows, which is understandable. It's a hot show. They didn't seem to get tired. They took some people out, put some people back in, so there's a good rotation coming. And overall, like there was some strong stuff and some nuisances. I think Wardlow coming back is a nice shot in the arm for their division. I think the Jamie Hayter return is again a nice shot in the arm for the women's division. Their story there. I think they should sign Bozilla immediately, but I've been saying that for over a year now. So yeah, let's dive right into it. Where should we start? First of all, the UK crowd needs to start singing Christian's theme. That's what needs to start.
There's nothing to like sing with Christian. I mean, I guess there is, but
you just do whoa. You can just do the woes.
No. No.
They should just start singing the waterproof blonde song over top of his theme. Just drown it out.
Oh, okay.
That's what they should do.
I don't know if they know the lyrics to that, but all right.
Yeah, they figured out the lyrics to Metalingus. They figured out the lyrics to Cody's theme. They can figure out the waterproof.
But they're
song.
playing all the time. That song doesn't play all the time.
I'm gonna start bringing the tape and just playing it on a big speaker.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to start doing.
Right.
But regardless, they need to start singing Christian's theme. Yeah, they sing MJF's theme. That's right.
They do.
They do. So they can do Christian's.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to sing Christian's theme, though.
Cowards. Hate this company. They got to sing Metalingus instead, and Alter Bridge is all excited about it. It's a moment. You know what? I give them that. Open up with the tag team. On the main card, Christian and Cope. They defeat Killswitchosaurus, Kip Sabian. Again, it's all in service of getting Cope and Christian back together, doing their thing, and I thought the match was fun. I think Christian going for that dive from the top out onto Killswitchosaurus was ridiculous. It goes over the ring post, and it looks like he almost caught his jaw on Killswitch's on his head, but he was fine. Did the rest of the match. Pop-up spear as a new finish is entertaining for me, but good little story there. It would have been much better had Jack Perry shown up, but also if Nick Wayne was available, it would have been a different match. But they did a good job with what feels like a last minute substitution of Killswitchosaurus.
It was good to see Luchasaurus just back in the ring after a year and the health issues that he went through. The match was fine. The finish was good. We're gonna get Cope and Christian against FTR for not the tag team titles. So.
There's still 3 weeks. They could do it in Philly.
I don't think they're
gonna do a Philly street fight, you big dumb bitch.
That would be a misfire if they take the titles off of Brodito just to put them on FTR, just to switch them over to Cope and Christian. That would be a misfire, folks. I don't think they're gonna do it. If they do, misfire.
I said it on Friday. We talked about it. It's there. I do not think Cope and Christian need a tag title match in Toronto to justify doing a match with FTR. I think there's enough of a story. They can make it hot. They can make it very entertaining. They just need to focus on these two teams. Not even these two teams. They need to focus on the fact that Cope and FTR have an issue. Christian's going to get roped into it. They need to focus on that. There is an interpersonal issue that needs to be taken care of, and that's the story you tell. Tag titles on the line sometime down the road. Not for Toronto. I think it's perfectly fine to do it at that particular, to do non-title at All Out. And then if you really want to do the titles on the line, you do it like towards the end of the year or next year.
I don't think Cope and Christian need a tag team title run at all. Honestly.
I fully agree. Again, this is exactly what I said on Friday. And I know there was some pushback from people, but I said, nope, it's not needed. Toronto will come out just to watch those two wrestle, and that's enough. That's enough of a moment. It does not need the titles.
Yeah. And don't worry. Toronto will come out to watch them wrestle, and then Chris Jericho will help FTR, and we'll get Y2TR for through the end of the year.
FTY2J. FTR2J. I don't think it's going to be Y2FTR. Feels a little too. It's too. They're all.
I said Y2FTR. I said Y2.
Y2TR.
Y2TR. YTR.
YTR. Y2R.
Yeah, Y2R.
There you go. I don't think there's a way to make that particular tag name work. FTRs.
The Jericho Appreciation Revival. The
jar. And we're gonna open it all over your face. I honestly, I would like Jericho, if they're gonna do it. I know I've said it here. People are finally catching on. If Jericho's gonna come back, just do the final. Hangman beats whoever, and then Jericho shows up and beats on Hangman, and we get the Full Gear match, and that's it. Just do full circle with Jericho and do the last match with Jericho and Hangman. Let Jericho ride off into the sunset, putting over the guy that he started it with, and you're good. I think that's the best way. If Jericho is going to come back to AEW, I'd like to think that the time he spent there warrants him having enough respect for the brand and the wrestlers that he will want to do something of note on the way out. Meanwhile, I think about the rest of the time Jericho has spent on the roster, and I think to myself, oh, well, he didn't do it then, so what does it matter now?
Chris Jericho not returning at all would honestly be so hilarious. Just comes in, has a very good run with some really strong moments, and then just leaves by smashing a bat against crates and walking out on Big Bill and Brian Keith. Kind of an epic exit if you think about it.
Just do a big forklift. He just drives out on a forklift, sad noises, beep, 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 as he's leaving the arena. It's Jericho's lifeless body strewn across the forklift as someone drives it out of the arena.
Brian Keith should, like, if Jericho leaves and doesn't return, Brian Keith should just say he murdered him. Just be like, yeah, he dead. That's it.
Perfect. That's it. Somebody tell Jericho right now to get on the phone with TK. We got your pitch right here.
That's what I would do. I would just have Brian Keith, but you ain't seen Chris Jericho anymore. He dead. Just gone. And then they just move on. Like it never happened.
I mean, that is kind of par for the course when it comes to AEW. You threaten murder, you do murder, nothing happens. There's no problem. You just kind of let it go. You just kind of let the murder happen, and then Tony's like, well, I didn't want it to happen this way, but this is the way it goes. So here's the world title match. Speaking of which, I don't know why he's here, but he's here. Hello, Cameron.
Can't just come and say hi.
Cam.
Can't just be like, guys, how are you doing? It's fucked
I was going to
up.
ask you about all that. I was going to ask about all that headroom, but then he fixed it.
Yeah, it's a lot going on up there. How are you?
Yeah. Hello, Pink
How you doing,
Lamp.
Cam? I yelled at Cam on Friday, so that's probably why he's here. He
That's
feels
why
bad
I'm
'cause
here.
I
I got
yelled
yelled
at
at on
him.
Friday.
Is that what we're doing now? We're just yelling at people until they show up?
Yeah.
Get your Zarian, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, we I don't know. I don't make the calls and stuff, but like it feels like the way that our stuff's distributed, for whatever reason, I'm Friday afternoon guy, which is perfectly fine, But one thing that it does affect are things like this, where hey, I want to come talk to my friends about the things that were together prior to the events happening, and that wasn't really a possibility. Apparently, I'm here to put over Jericho. Okay.
That's what we were talking about before you popped on. So,
yeah, that's gonna be. I mean, is everybody gonna say it's gonna be wild to see everybody who said that he wasn't this or he wasn't that totally change their tune when he shows up on the show that they like. I've been singing the same tune for about a decade. So I will feel no different. Wherever he chooses to ply his trade and take his talents, I'll make it a point to go make a sandwich.
what kind of sandwich?
Thank you.
Whichever one takes the longest to make.
Fair.
I'm gonna make sure I toast the bread. No,
I was gonna say, get a toast of bread.
Yeah. Good luck to the guy. Whatever. He. I don't know. I do think that there was some good stuff with Brian Keith and with Big Bill that they probably could have done with somebody else, but you don't want to take credit away from what happened. Brian Keith being like crazy help guy and like, how are you to disrespect Chris Jericho? I thought that stuff was really good. I thought the Big Bill did show a few dimensions there. That was really, great, fantastic. But I don't know if anything after like the Painmaker really did anything for me. That was kind of the extent of what I found interesting.
I mentioned it earlier last week. That was always the thing with Jericho, was at least he would not, I wouldn't say read the room, but give the opportunity to try something different or do something different when it felt like something stale was coming about. And again, I don't expect people to like him anymore for it, but I do think that he deserves at least a little bit of credit for being able to just go away and then come back and do something different. Not everyone does that in wrestling. A lot of people will just stick with it, head down, plow through it, hope for the best, and that's enough. But Jericho is willing to at least try to do it and show ass at the same time. I brought up GFY a billion times because it's so easy, but he will at least try it, see it, and if it works, great. If it does, and then he'll pound it into the ground. But then if it doesn't work, he'll just move on and be like, all right, well, next one.
Must be nice to have that kind of country to where when something doesn't work, you can move on instead of being stuck there for months and months and months and being blamed for the thing not working, or being called boring or uninteresting, or being called unfocused, or being called lazy. Must be nice to be able to pivot. Again, through no fault of his, there's a certain amount of country you're afforded, done this thing at the highest level for so long. So good on him, I suppose.
We spent way too much time on a guy who wasn't on this show.
Yeah.
You didn't show up in the main event. Everyone else did.
Man, that was Sunday afternoon's a weird time. I think for the last few though, we had people over for like brunch. You get your friends over, get some mimosas going, and it's very exciting. This last one was just at the crib. Like I just got back from the gym and the grocery store. Just kind of turned it on. It was good though. I actually did not have it on until after the women's 4-way, which I heard was really good. And I think that our good buddy Caden was trying to make the point that having the championships, basically 3 long-term title runs with Tony, with Mercedes, and with Athena is a detriment to everybody else who's kind of there. And I'm like, I don't agree with him. I was not going to comment on the internet about it. People were being very weird because that's what they but I mean, I don't feel like somebody was like Willow's like the most underpushed. I'm like, Willow's not underpushed. What are you talking about? She does great things like when she's on TV, and they have then you bring in like a Persephone, you bring in a Bozella. Like, I don't feel like there are people who are getting less because there are 3 champions who have had these 3 titles for a long time, because you got apparently a really good 4-way. You got a really good match between Toni Storm and Athena. Like, I don't know. I don't get hung up on belts like that. I think I did when I was a little younger, but is what you're doing on TV good? Are you on TV? Are you making the thing happen? Are the match is good? Is your character interesting? I think, and Caden is not saying this. This is Cameron saying this. I want to be clear. Attack him for other things like his shoes or his hair.
It's a little personal, okay.
Yes, he never wears real shoes when we go places. Like, anyway, I think that a lot of times with how women's wrestling is interpreted on the internet, it's that thing where everybody deserves a turn with the title because they're my favorite, so they should have a title run. And I'm like, things should work like that. But again, I think that there's so many people doing good work, and that kind of showed through like on this card. I thought that it's interesting what they did with Swerve and Okada. The pacing was not kind of what I'm used to with Swerve. I loved, Okada being Okada at the end. There's some really good spots there. I liked Max and Hangman aside from counting the 3 count with his foot on the ropes, but maybe I wasn't all there. Everybody didn't see everything, but I caught it when I woke up. Thought it was a bit much. But I thought it was good.
The Max thing.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say the Max thing with the foot on the ropes and the 3. They were trying to do the callback to the Mark Briscoe stuff, right?
Of course, yeah.
And so like it was them trying to do it, but also it was a little too in your face in this case. Like they were trying to show like, oh, he's not going to get it again, and they made it very obvious this time. I think that's what kind of got people a little turned off from that particular moment. So I get it. And then of course Briscoe comes out and they just push him away, and he's a non-starter in the match. He just shows up and that's it.
I love that they let him hit the fake security guards, but the real security guards, like who really worked there, it was like, nah, we're not doing that. Which I think is a sign of respect between all parties, because those are my guys. When I said a phone call, I did not mean from Max. I meant with the triple threat tag match. They found a way to get there.
That match ruled. That was.
They found a way to get there. Man, I tell you what, I wish, and it's a hard spot. It's the end of the match, but I wish they would have hit that kind of leg press 450 between Bandito and Brody. I wish they would have hit that clean, because I think they would have looked really, really good.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing to do, though. But yeah, that would have been something. But man, they were. Those are. I don't know if like Kevin Speedball would have fit that, but like that was like good and made me want another team in more stuff. What like maybe the Bucks would have been cool in that. Don't ever tell anybody I said that. Ever anybody. But yeah, and then the main event was good, but like of course, what's the best spot of the main event?
The fork?
Darby's ear? To go up that ladder. And they said, boy, go get your old ass down from there.
That was very funny.
Kota Ibushi gatekeeping high-risk moves. What the hell, man? Get out of here.
That boy's knees are made out of plantains. Like, just a little bit of bend in them and they're done. I said, no, you're not going. It was so good. I enjoyed it. And then, they had me. Look at them celebrating in his home country, and they love him, and he's victorious. And no, let's kill him. Let's actually kill this man to death. Somebody was like, "Hey, you think I can reach out and get Ospreay before his surgery? This is, Saturday." I'm like, yeah, I bet, make a call, and if not, I'll reach out to blah, 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 blah. And then they were like, after the show, they were like, I don't think that's happening. I was like, I do not think that's happening. He died to death. That man is dead. But yeah, I thought I enjoyed it. And then have you guys talked about Heatwave at all?
Oh, we've literally talked. We haven't even talked about Forbidden Door, much less Heatwave.
Yeah, we just started on Forbidden Door.
You've reviewed Forbidden Door more than we have.
Went through the whole thing, right?
That show's over after you leave.
I wonder why Rick was on the poster. Like, you don't even have a match. Like, what are you doing? And now, see what he's doing.
Big Massachusetts boy, Ricky Saints.
You gotta just put good-looking people on the poster.
Yeah, that's how it works. Yeah. They don't need to show up. They just need to look right.
It's interesting. I think, naturally, he's kind of the next guy. It is just, I was talking to my non-wrestling friends, and I don't know who came up in conversation, but, it comes up, Black wrestlers in positions to succeed. And I'm trying to explain how I process like a Triple H, right? And my thing was always Triple H's first time around Black people was probably at work. And it's around the most extreme Black men in the world, whereas white wrestlers are the most extreme white men, and Mexican wrestlers are the most extreme Mexican men. You know what I mean? There's a personality type that exists in wrestling that is caricature isn't the word, but you're also getting these hyper athletic alpha male competing for spots. There's certain things you'll pick up on, right? And I was like, where Shawn Michaels, and again, all my buddies are from San Antonio. I was like, Shawn Michaels was on Cole Air Force Base down the street from where we were at. So he's probably been around us forever. And so I showed them the 8-man tag NXT graphic with Moose, Trick, Oba, and Javon versus Dark State and the one white guy in Dark State. And I was like, that's probably why these things are presented differently. So I say all that to say you know, especially lately, all of Oba's challengers have been like black guys. And it's established that right now these guys are the best guys on that show. And it's not weird. And so like Rick being like kind of in that position, based on what he's done and what he presents is really, really cool. I ain't going to Florida for this shit. I don't know about all that. Bad enough I got to be here while shit's going down. I'm going to Florida to watch you win the title, but he's definitely bringing that to brunch if he brings it home. So that'll be fun.
Do you want to come to Toronto for All Out?
Fuck no.
That's what I expected. You coward.
Wow.
Somebody was like, what did they say? Of course, it feels like things are leading towards Christian and Cope and FTR. And they were like, you should, it'd be a good time to interview like Cope and Christian. I'm like, they were like, maybe Christian's actually doing interviews. And I was like, you know what? That would be really, really, really fun to do from my computer to their phone. Not where the thing's happening. I don't want to talk to anybody there because I don't want to be there because I'm never going there. And it's disgusting. It's
Better than where you are.
I respect that. Nah, just don't need to leave. Everything can be done.
You know what? Like, Joe, you're not wrong, but like, it's like if there's ever a week to be in Texas, this is the week. It's college football week 1 coming up. Like, of course, it's an away game, but like the city and the state are just abuzz with Arch Manning, and God bless the kid. I hope he does great. But yeah, it's kickoff weekend. Very, very excited about it. That would never happen in Toronto or anywhere in Canada because things don't happen.
The CFL is a thing that exists.
Don't they play on like? Isn't the goalpost like in the end zone?
Brother, I couldn't tell you shit about the CFL if I tried.
I don't know what they be doing up there, man.
Oh, here we go. Let's take a look. September 20th, the Toronto Argonauts are playing. Oh, the night before. There you go. You can come and watch the football game on the Friday.
This all sounds terrible.
The Argos are
watching Canadian football and then transitioning to like wrestling in Canada. That's a 2-pack of ass, is what that is.
I barely made it to halftime when I went to a CFL game. I am not a football person to start, but I did not make it to the end of that game. I was like, nope, not me, not happening.
Yeah. Absolutely. But yeah. Fun weekend of wrestling. What's been really interesting is watching all the reactions to Rampage's kid, and it's just like independent wrestling has done so much for me and for what I do professionally, for my brand, and especially down here between Inspire, between New Texas, West Coast Pro out the way. They've been so accommodating to me, and I've met so many great guys and gals, and the promoters are solid, and I've only had like these really good experiences with independent wrestling. And then you remember there's the other side, and it's just like, it is unfortunate. I'm so glad that guy is awake. Like, it was just everything about it just seems bad from start to finish.
And a lot of people are going to point this out. They are a WWE ID affiliated school. And for that to happen there, that speaks some languages to people.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, you can't. I mean, who knows? Like, clearly, you can't put the stamp on everybody, right? Just that simple. I don't think this is like a. We can clean this up. I think that's done. I think that's could have died, man. You could have died. Again, I've only had good experiences. I understand bad ones exist. The last thing before I go back, it's actually the first day of school, and so the kids are begging. They're begging like Keith Sweat, boy. It is a lot. I just got to get into this class. The registration opened in May. Like, where have you been? But I can't. I can't feel
That's always the best when classes are decided and everything. It's like, wait, how did I get this class? Because you signed up for it. That's how you got into this class. But I need to get into it. No, you didn't sign up for that class. What are you doing?
I had a kid right before I jumped on who really needs this paired algebra calculus class, right? And there's one seat available, but it's only through you have to get a granted petition from the department, right? But there's one seat available. It's like, I really, really need this. I said, hey, well, the class is going right now. I'm not saying that it's a guarantee you get in. Why don't you go to campus and talk to the teacher? Like, the class is happening, so you'll catch them probably like on the back end of class or during the break between the two classes. You know what this kid told me? He said, I would if I could, but I can't right now. I'm in Florida. It's an in-person class.
How do you think you're getting into it anyway?
If you don't show up tomorrow, like, there is no class, regardless if you're in it or not. What are you talking about?
Boy hit you with, I would if I could, but I can't, so I won't.
Butt hook me up. But he either will butt hook me up on the back. Like, oh, yeah. And the last thing, I hate Instagram. We did a feature with Swerve on Friday. Crazy enough, it was exactly 1 year from the day when we did the feature with Complex. So that was really cool. And, you know, we talked about the last year and staying relevant and motivations and stuff. And he said, you know, John Moxley's title run, where he was like, who's going to step up and all that. He was like, yeah, that was storyline, but that was also like a real thing with us about figuring out like who was going to try to push this thing to the next level. And he said, you know, without being prompted, he said 4 guys. You know, he said it's me, Max, Osprey, and Hangman. You know, and it was great. And of course, like that turns into it's 4 guys, and it turns into 4 pillars, and you know, and then just you know, we post a graphic on Instagram, and I totally understand the value of it, but it's just it just turns into shit so soon. Like, and my favorite one was like, what about Moxley? And I was like, if you read the thing, you would know why not Moxley. I had a guy arguing with me about the title of the article. For
that
like
was my favorite.
And I was like,
did you read the article, Cam?
And I wasn't. I just posted a question mark and my name and my face attached to the article. Oh, it's getting worse. It's getting worse.
So I felt bad for you for a number of reasons, but I saw the article, great article. And obviously that was the thing that kind of stood out. And the headline had pillars and the setup was kind of pillars. But I read the comments and I'm like, Swerve didn't directly say pillars. And so I'm putting together, you know, the aggregation article. And I like to try to do good work. And I'm like, the headline... can it be like, can pillars be in the headline? And I overthought it, double thought it of like, well, he didn't actually say Swerve Strickland says these people are the pillars. Those are not his words. Like I know Cam, got a good relationship with Cam, message you. I'm like, is this fair? This is when I yelled at Cam. I was like, what the hell? You released an article on Friday and don't show up on our show. But I was like, is this headline fair? Because I wanted to just double check. And then you yelled at me. I was like, no, it's not fair. And then you're like, you gave me a suggestion and I was like, oh, this is actually my backup in case you were like, that's not fair. And you're like, yeah, that's good. And so we figured it all out. I understood what you were going for with the article. I thought, again, it was well done the way you explained it. I wanted to be fair to you because I want to be fair to everybody, but especially people, again, I know I have a good relationship with, don't want to fuck up things with them. I had to yell at our social media team of like, don't do this. I'm trying to do good work out here. Don't fuck up my good work that I literally just got done doing.
And I was like, what is this?
Yeah, I know you messaged me. I was like, oh my, I'm so sorry. Literally like 2 seconds after we had this conversation, it goes up. I was like, I'm sorry. Like That's on our social media team. I got it cleared up with the person who did it. He apologized. Like, you didn't really do anything wrong. I see where you were coming from, but like, I'm trying to make sure we're doing right things out here. And they're like, I just looked at other engagement. I was like, don't follow other engagement accounts. Like, we do our own work. Don't follow other engagement accounts.
But like, I do know that, like, again, like for our social media team, shout out to Kel. I know Kel's personality. I've done, like, outside of like knowing him and hanging out with him, I've done like shows and stuff with him. I'm like, okay, you threw a little bit of sauce in there so that we can get a comment section going, so that we can get replies going. So I totally understand, like, including pillars in that. I totally understood making the graphic like that. I just don't have the temperament to be addressed about it. I don't. And I thought I was like nice a whole weekend because like I'm hanging out. I'm like I'm having fun with my friends. Like I'm just like, nah, it's like just read it. I told this guy, I was like, hey, just read it and like come back to me. And I'm pretty sure that's not what you take away from it. He said, I don't need to read it. And I was like,
that's the answer, baby. That's the answer.
I did actually did hit him with, you'd be less offended if you could read. Yeah, and I just had to leave it at that because yeah. Okay. The regular job calls me. The children need me. Guys, thanks as always. If you guys get a chance, Yahoo Sports Uncrowned, conversation with Swerve came out Friday talking about what's with AEW, who's kind of leading the pack. I love that we did that right before two of those guys are going to be put in bubble wrap for a while. But game is the game, right?
It's all part of
it. Later, guys.
Thanks
Cam. You can check out Cam's new feature called Pillar Talk over on Uncrowned.
I did feel bad for him because we just got done having the conversation, and then like everyone's just like pillars. Like, oh man, like if they only knew.
The thing is, like, so before I even saw any of the pillar stuff that came out of this, I had already scanned the article, like, just because when Cam drops something, I will start, like, I'll do, when I have time, I'll do a proper reading of it, but like I'll scan it at first just to see, like, hey, is anything really, like, I need to do it right now, or can I come back to it? And like I read through it and there was nothing that jumped out like the new pillars of AEW. I was like, oh, okay, cool. This is these are the people that Swerve thinks is currently, featured propping up the brand. It was nothing like these people are the future. These are the ones. I don't know why people just suddenly jumped on this pillar stuff. And I kept thinking, I was like, I understand why.
Yeah,
I understand why. But like, I don't get why people don't think and then act. But then I also understand why people don't think and then act. So here I am.
Pillars is an easy buzzword, especially in AEW. And like it was in the headline and it was like part of the article. But again, this is where two things are kind of in the mix here. One, you got to have reading comprehension to read and see that, okay, yeah, the setup was like kind of pillars talk, but he didn't outright say pillars. This is what he meant. And then I thought Cam did a good job of equating it more to a relay race and not pillars. Two, I think people got to understand, not everyone like writes their own headline when it comes to news stuff with this. Sometimes you just submit an article and you don't have a say in the headline, especially if it's something like that. Like, yeah, I write my own headlines with news articles and stuff, but a lot of feature writers and stuff, they just submit their feature and the editor is the person who plugs in the headline to it, and they're gonna go with kind of what's a grabby headline, what kind of stands out, and they're trying to put a lot into the headline because it does talk about like, the pillars and being the guy and the Okada match, and you're trying to like fit all of that into the headline. But I don't think people fully understand that. Not every writer, especially feature writers, like have a full say in the headline. Like that's an editor or a site master call a lot of time. Even newspapers Go back to the old days of newspapers. Like, newspaper editors write most of the headlines for these feature articles. The feature writer just submits the feature.
And that's all he's doing, his job. So go read it. I do highly recommend it. I mean, I recommend everything that Cam does because it's very well written and it's thoughtful. And then you can, make up your mind for yourself, kind of what it's all about. But read the damn thing before you act on it. Who are the 4 pillars of ICW live chat? Not you, Xeno Hour. It's Brian Alvarez. Oh, that's coming to an end this week too. Friday's the last day for X.
Friday's the last
X1.
day. Yep. Xeno Hour's already won. I'm
not cameo.
I'm not joking when I say this. I'm rigging this. I'm being very upfront and honest. I am rigging this. Xeno Hour is going to win because we need to see what Brian Alvarez has to say. And with Xeno Hour winning for 3 straight weeks. We need this. As a community, we need this. Yes, it's rigged. But if you don't think that we're going to get a great cameo from Brian Alvarez with Xeno Hour winning for 3 straight months, come on. We have to. We have to see what he says.
We'll get back to Forbidden Door in a second. I'm seeing more and more people reacting, by the way, to the $70,000 WrestleMania ticket price tag.
Oh.
And I laugh at the fact that you and I, we went into the weeds on this because that is what the show does. We went in the weeds about the ticket and what it entails. And a lot of people are reacting similarly to how it started with us in the conversation. 70,000, we got sticker shock. And then we dove into what it's supposed to include, and it suddenly became, okay, this is like a full ass week of events, tickets, programming, exclusive access, and exclusive swag and stuff like that. And at that point, it was like, okay, I understand it's not for me, but someone will absolutely take on that entire, week's worth of events for that money. So I found it funny. The latest one was Lufisto, whom I love. And I just saw her point out, when I went to Montreal Screwjob in '97, it was $150 for, a 4th row ticket. I'm like, yeah, but that was one singular event. And I'm not, again, I think $70,000 I still think $70,000 is an exorbitant amount of money. I think it's way too much. Do not get me wrong. But I'm also willing to account for the fact that they are giving you a shit ton of stuff, including 15 minutes with all of that. That still tickles me every time. It's way too much money, but people are going to be willing to pay for it. Just like brunch with John Cena for $20,000. Someone paid for it. Some people paid for it. It's not for us necessarily, but there is someone who has that money burning a hole in their pockets, ready for that experience because it's one of a kind. And most of them, by the way, are YouTubers who then make videos out of it and either get, a lot of money back or they try.
Man, if you got $70,000 to burn,
give it to us.
Can you just give me 10,000 of that? I'll be good. I feel like if you're using $70,000 on this, you can afford to just hand me $10,000. That'd be sweet.
70K, I can book Raw once. That's not even a junior writer. A writer assistant salary isn't even 70,000. It's much less than that. You're paying more than a junior writer's salary to do this event. It's kind of crazy. Give me all your money.
Insane.
Anyway, speaking of money, you got your finger on the button?
Sure.
Volop sends a super chat saying Vanilla Fumble.
I'm Vanilla, baby.
This is what we call it when Brian Keith doesn't murder Jericho off of AEW TV. Well, now we're future fumbling.
Yeah. Now we're good
future
call.
fumbles.
Future fumble. Yeah.
Appreciate
future
that.
Vanilla Fumble. Yes.
Thank you, Val. We'll see if Jericho does come back, and again, what that looks like. But it's also a possibility that he just doesn't, and that he just keeps doing what he's doing because he's got events and appearances that he's making from now through the end of the year. So it's entirely possible that this is just it and it's over. So we'll leave it at that.
And again, if it is, Brian Keith needs to be on television saying he dead.
And he just seems to be like one of those random like end of segments where he just grabs the mic and says, Chris Jericho's dead. And then they go back to Excalibur and he's like, well, okay, back to in-ring action. they just no-sell it.
Anyway, here's Timeless Tony Storm.
Yeah, the music starts.
Yeah.
Are they popping for the music or for the announcement? Who knows? But here's Timeless Tony Storm. Anyway, yeah, so we talked about the tag match. Let's just talk about the tag title match because this all kind of plays at least into the general conversation about FTR and Cope and Christian. Somewhere between Wednesday and Saturday night, they changed the match stipulation.
But they didn't tell anybody because they said at the beginning of the match, it's elimination. That was my favorite part, is they start all fighting, and Excalibur is like, oh, there's no tags in this, and there's no DQ, so they can just all fight on the outside. And then it breaks down, or it comes together instead of breaks down. It comes together, and they do tags, and Excalibur's like, oh, sorry about that. Like, still got to do tags and everything, but it's still elimination. And Danielson's like, they should just fight each other. What are they doing? There's no DQ.
And it's so funny because everyone in like the podcasting space, everyone who's like, you know, previewing the card, talking about the shows, everything, nobody knew what was going on. And everyone was going back to what was said on Wednesday when it was announced to the crowd and to the audience at home. This is a 3-way elimination tag team title match. And at that point, the story was, well, people are going to have to get pinned, or, you know, something you talked about was a DQ to get out of there. And they didn't. And we had people in our chats over the last few days and on camera being like elimination, or saying it's a triple threat. So like no DQs at all. And we're like, well, no, it's not a triple threat. It is elimination. So it's a traditional tag match, but there are 3 teams. And it's just, you got to do 2 out of 3 falls to win the match. So something got really, really lost. And I'm so interested. And I know I'm not alone. I'm sure we're going to find out what the hell happened. But, you know, MVP wasn't there. He wasn't seen all day, according to Fightful Select. So we don't know where that kind of falls into it. The Hurt Syndicate technically didn't lose. You could have at least counted them out if this was an elimination match, right? Because he had Gates of Agony and Ricochet come in and beat them down and then beat them to the back. You could have done a count out spot, but instead they just kind of kept going and they went to the finish with Brodito and Brodito hitting the monkey flip 360. And yeah, I know there was some problems trying to hit it properly in the pin and all that, but like it was just a really messed up, convoluted match that ended with Brodito winning the tag titles, which I was a proponent of and I had been for the week of. But this is it's very strange.
You know, people pointing out the graphic, it didn't say elimination, just the tweet. They said it on commentary. It was elimination. I feel like, and I don't feel like going back and look, but I like the original graphic had elimination. Excalibur said elimination. They said at the beginning of the match, elimination. Now the preview on AEW, the website didn't have anything about elimination. It seems like it was just confusing. And it seems like they didn't actually know until they got there. And then they just decided to go with whatever they were going to go with. I don't think they actually had this figured out. Because if they did, they would have just announced it as such. They would have just announced it as elimination and not tried to and put it on the graphic and gone for it. Or they would have just announced it as one fall. And again, that's it. Not even mention elimination at all. Just one, everything would have just been a standard one fall thing. I don't think they knew what they were going to do. I think they wanted to do elimination because otherwise why even put that out there? And then I think they wanted to do elimination to basically say, hey, yeah, Hurt Syndicate's going to get pinned. But they weren't sure it was going to happen. And then obviously by the time they got to the match, it didn't happen. You're right about the count out thing. Like the count out thing could have easily been, they could have explained it through that, but they didn't. They just got beat up by Ricochet and Gates of Agony and they just laid there. And then they did the one pinfall, which they unfortunately screwed up. And that was the match.
For anyone in the chat who had mentioned, you know, MVP's criminal past and obtaining a visa, that's not a problem. He has been overseas a multitude of times in the last 15 years. So that, as we understand it, is not the issue. He was just in Tokyo like a month ago with his kids. So like he's clear. He's fine to travel as far as we understand it. I'm very curious to find out. I also know that he is very serious about his family, especially his kid and his kid's extracurriculars. I wouldn't be surprised if we suddenly find out that he's going to tweet out, "Oh, my kid had like a jiu-jitsu black belt final, whatever, and I wasn't going to miss that for the world." And if that's the case, people are just going to be like, "Okay, yeah, makes sense. He's done. He's not coming." But also, no one has talked about that ahead of time, so it's not like they got ahead of it either. So it's strange that he wasn't there, and it's strange that they changed the entire variation of the match between Wednesday and Sunday. It was it was just kind of a mess. And then they got to the finish. Again, Brodito winning works. They're probably going to eventually get Hurt Syndicate into another tag team title match against Brodito. But first they got to beat Ricochet and Gates of Agony, or they're just going to move along.
Hurt Syndicate?
Well, Hurt Syndicate getting back into the title picture because they got screwed out of the tag titles.
No. Nope. They done.
You think that's it?
They done with this tag team shit.
Okay.
Dollface, Ricochet, and Gates of Agony, they're done with this tag team stuff. They've made that kind of clear through on television and even MVP's comments in media of like, yeah, when we're done with the tag team division, MVP mentioned like, we might just drop the titles and just start going after singles titles, like literally just vacate them. Nah, I don't think they care about this tag team stuff. What happened with the Swerve feud? Lashley beat Swerve, and they didn't go back to that at all.
I know, and that's something we talked about when this whole, the speedball conversation started, and all that came out, and it was like, yeah, they've dropped 2 storylines right now, and it feels like they just dropped a third, and you can't keep doing that because it just makes you look worse. And again, this is kind of the funny thing about how smart and how simultaneously stupid people can be, and wrestlers too. The idea that like this is how they're going to try and kayfabe it and be like, we're the Hurt Syndicate, we're better than everyone, start booing us because you shouldn't be cheering us, and this is how we're going to show you by being better than everyone and getting heat by doing stuff backstage, allegedly. If that's the way they're going to do it and try to 4D chess themselves into a heel spot, that's a little too much for me, but I also wouldn't be surprised to find that out. I don't know. It's you're probably right that they're going to just move along from the tag team stuff. They'll do a trios match with Gates of Agony and Ricochet, and MVP might come in and be a part of it, and that'll be that. And I assume Lashley's going to try and go after MJF if MJF wins the world title.
Which maybe if the MJF, I think, is going to be on the back burner for Hangman right now, because we did get clarification on the contract stuff, and it's got to be a week's notice now.
Yeah, now.
You're welcome. We made this happen.
We did.
Everybody.
This was
our long discussion and our clip of this made it happen. I will accept no other answer. We made this happen.
Tony found it, and he said he's right. We can't have this money in the bank shit. We can't have this other guy's stuff.
Tony at the press conference when he's like, I want to ask you guys, like, I want to get feedback from you guys. And I'm like, what is he about to do? Is he about, I thought he was about to ask, like, should we keep doing these press conferences? That's where my brain went, because he's asking, like, I love answering questions from the media. Like, it's great to talk to you all and blah, blah, blah. But, WWE just stopped doing press conferences. So I was like, is he about to ask, like, should we keep doing these press conferences? Like, are they're
not getting rid of this. They're not.
No, I don't think they are.
Because right now they're going to be media darlings if they keep doing them, because no one else offers that level of access anymore. So they know that this is, you can do it in 45 minutes, get in and out. Like, they've been shortening them, but this is, they can't.
They've been shorter. The fucking problem with them is they take 80 minutes to start. That's the issue.
This is, again, why I don't think, and we talked about this a million times, why Tony doesn't need to be there for the entirety of the event or the entirety of the press conference. Because in the past, it's always been, we got to wait for Tony to make sure everything's okay and make sure everyone's squared up, and then we can start it. I feel like if you have Renee, you can have a host and someone else at the dais and just go from there, and Tony joins midway through or at the end, whatever it could be. So again, I'd rather they keep this going because it makes AEW look more appealing to media, and also just it also proves that like they don't have to do a press day ahead of the events, right? It gives them more reason not to. They should be doing it. There should be more opportunities. But again, we talked about it. Everyone else has to. You cannot rely on another wrestling company to give you content. You just have to kind of go on your own adventure. But keeping these open, they should have. They should keep the media. Sorry, the press scrums afterwards.
So anyway, he asked for feedback on the contract execution, and I love Renee's like, you should just strip him of it. And then somebody else is like, yeah, you should strip MJF of it. And then he's like, well, I want your feedback, but I'm not going to go that far on things. Kind of cowardly.
I care, but I don't care that much.
Yeah. You know what should have happened? I would have done this. I said this now in hindsight. I would have threatened to burn Joel Pearl if Tony did not take away MJF's contract. I would have said, I will burn Joel Pearl right here, live. He's sitting right next to me. Whoever was sitting next to me, I would just threaten to burn him. Like, if you don't take away MJF's contract. A bunch of cowards in the media did not threaten to burn their fellow media members so MJF could lose his contract. But yeah, now it's a week's notice. Look, I know it's a hindsight thing. I'm glad it's clarified and the way they're doing it. I think it's a good call to do it this way. I think Tony's explanation makes sense. Should you have figured this out beforehand? Yes, 100%. You should have. But I like that they at least have now figured it out. And I do think Tony's reasoning for it makes sense.
As long as they keep to it. That's the one caveat.
I think this is a pretty easy thing to keep to, honestly.
I would also like to think that, but unfortunately, elimination tag title matches do have changes in play.
Yeah.
And if they prove me wrong, if they prove everyone wrong and they do it, they keep to it, and it is easy. You're right. It just needs to be. It just needs to be enforced. And
it's only twice a year because the only time they do the contract execution thing is All In. Every other time they've done, unless they're going to start doing it more, which I don't think they should do, but every other time they've done Casino Gauntlet or Ladder, whatever, Battle Royal, any type of casino gimmick, they've always said like this, they'll earn their shot here. They've never done like, oh, they won a contract for a guaranteed title shot. It's always, you're going to earn your shot here. But the only time they do the contract execution is the Casino Gauntlet. And that's only at All In. The Casino Gauntlet at All In. It's only a twice a year thing. It seems pretty easy to stick to.
Yeah, and I hope they do. So we'll see. But again, clarification is nice. Let it happen. Let it be the way. 1 week advance, I think that's fine. If you really want to get weird, John Cena did that, and that's how we got Raw 1000. He gave a week's notice. So here we are. They're just ripping off Dom. Just kidding.
RVD gave.
RVD also did a week notice on John Cena. You're right. So
I think it was more than a week's notice, but it
was coming into ECW. He called a shot.
Yeah.
So I think the calling your shot's fine. Clearly, everyone's doing that now because Takeshita is now cashing in his G1 contract.
I hate that.
I'll let you and SB3 cover that tomorrow because I'm sure you're both going to have very strong feelings on that. To me, I can tell you I'm not surprised, but I'll let you guys talk about it because
SB3 and I aren't either. We said this was probably going to happen. It doesn't mean I have to like it.
Of course. Well, I'll let you guys go on about that because I'm sure after Raw you'll want something else to talk about. We'll see.
Yeah, I might not have to talk about Raw, which would be sweet.
Well, we'll find out. So that's where we're standing with the tag titles, and since we're talking about cash-ins, do we want to go to women's title or do we want to talk about MJF Hangman?
No, we can go with women's, and then from there.
I thought both women's matches on the main card were very strong in very different ways, and I really enjoyed the different stories told. The Athena and Tony match, I was never I never thought Athena was going to win this one. I know you had I'm actually curious because you were pretty strong on the idea of Athena winning and looking. Yes, you were. We had a whole ass video that came out of this. Stop it.
I wasn't. I
Because
wasn't strong on Athena winning. I said if anyone is going to win, it was going to be Athena. I thought Tony was still going. I was stronger on Athena winning than MJF winning, but saying I was strong on Athena winning is not correct.
anyway, the point of the matter is, did that feeling change for you when MJF effectively got to take back his contract?
No, that made it more likely of like, oh, well, now Tony's definitely winning. I thought Tony was always going to win because I didn't think they were going to put both the titles on Athena. I didn't think she was going to be the ROH and the AEW Women's Champion. It's much easier to just beat the ROH champion, but she's still the ROH champion, than put the AEW title on her and then be like, oh, but she's also the ROH champion. Like they love Athena. Athena is ROH in a lot of ways. They don't feel strong enough to put both titles on her. I felt stronger if between MJF and Athena, because I said it would be weird. You're going to have both of them fail. Now you're 0 for 3 on these contract cash-ins. I felt stronger about Athena winning than MJF winning. Yeah, once MJF was out of the cash-in, then I was like, oh, well, he's still losing, and Athena is definitely losing now. But my faith in her winning was like, 5%, which is 5% more than MJF.
So now are you excited for Billy to win at this year's Final Battle?
Oh, God. She's not going to, I assume. They're just going to
I don't even know at this point. It's very funny that this is anyway. So the match is good. Again, I like the story right off the bat. They just went right into it. The dropkick start, taking Billy out in the first 5 minutes was both funny and worth it for the story. The look of Toni Storm coming out was absolutely hilarious, doing the old English. And I thought that was very well done. Someone had pointed out who she was dressed as, and I'm sure someone in the chat's going to pull it up. But regardless, I thought she came out looking on point, and the match itself was very well done, very well story told, and especially towards the end where you had to have Billy come out, be a part of the O face on the ropes, and then try to take her out with the chair. Production kind of missed her picking up the chair, and then Mina coming out and doing something, like trying to sorry, I'm losing my words. Mina coming out and trying to stop Billy and then chasing her to the back to even out the score. And then that led to the finish. Again, great match. I assume Tony was winning. You were all in on Athena. I know you were totally just, you thought Athena was going to win. So set on it. You put all of you lost your money on it. But no, it was a great match. And now the question becomes, what's next for Toni Storm? Athena's got a match on Friday at the ROH show. So she's got to defend against Mina for her 69th win. And maybe Athena's going to be losing that title and Mina becomes a double champ. Probably not. But yeah, Athena does not successfully cash in her spot. She even signed the contract in front of everyone.
I thought this was an excellent match. I wish I'd gotten a little bit more time, honestly. Like, it felt like they had a little bit more to do. And I'm not saying, it needed like another 20 minutes or anything, but it felt like they just had a little bit more that they could have done. And maybe they'll get a rematch down the road. Whoever beats Toni is going to be made. I know that much because she's beaten Mercedes, who hadn't lost. She's beaten Athena. I know Athena lost to Mercedes in the Owen, but otherwise Athena don't take too many losses. So Tony's the person that whoever does beat her, you're really making somebody with that victory. And we'll see who it is. They've got some options. I don't love any of the options right now. Like Willow, I would love. I think Statlander could make some sense. Otherwise, everyone else feels like they need just a little bit more to where I'm buying. All right, Tony can lose to this person.
Bozilla.
I don't know. It's if Bozilla.
I know.
I don't know how long she's gonna be around. See, I thought Statlander or Willow would be the one to beat Mercedes because I don't think those are off the table either. And maybe, maybe Bozilla maybe Stat beats Tony and Willow beats Mercedes. Maybe Mercedes beats Tony and she just collects all the titles once again.
I like the idea of Mercedes never being able to, not right now at least, be able to win the big one, where she's literally still going around and getting all these belts. But the one, if they do it again, maybe it is she finally wins that big one. But the story should always be with Mercedes and AEW that the world title is that one title that eludes her. And I feel like when she eventually does win it, maybe she does it as a babyface. And maybe she does it after the crash of Monet and like everything's done. She's got nothing left. And Toni Storm probably isn't the world champion at that point. But whoever it is, Mercedes would finally win that AEW World's Women's Championship. So I'm not set on Mercedes now, but I'm certainly set on Mercedes later with the story being what I just mentioned. Timeless Toni Storm continues to be the champion that has, like, it's unstoppable. She is unstoppable. And I don't know who is being built to stop the unstoppable, because you can make the argument that at one point Megan Bayne would have been that person, but they went right to Megan Bayne immediately, which at the time it worked because it was kind of a shot in the arm and it made people really like surprised. And it also put Megan in a position to be looked at when she deserved it. And since then, while the matches have been good, no opponent has made anyone, or at least made me feel like Tony's going to drop this title. So I'm curious about who can step up, because right now Statlander isn't really jumping off the page. Neither is Willow. They're both very, celebrated and popular characters, and they're on TV every week, but they don't have the momentum that would push them towards a World Women's Championship match. So I don't know who fits. I don't know who they're going to push to get there.
I think they can get somebody there. And Stat Willow, I think Megan Bayne could get there as well. We'll see coming out of a potential Blood and Guts or whatever they're going to end up doing with the women, because it still seems like they're potentially still setting up Blood and Guts.
Yeah, it's such a good and strange situation to be in, but that's where they find themselves. Because I mentioned Bozilla, let's talk about the 4-way for the TBS title. I thought this was such a really well-paced 4-way match. Again, I saw Bozilla and Megan Bayne beat the shit out of each other at Janela's Spring Break, and I made the joke, and it's kind of half-assed. Like, that was my WrestleMania, because I really wanted to see that match when it happened, and I'm glad that I did. So watching Bozilla in a 4-way match with Mercedes, who like loves to ragdoll with opponents. She's great at being ragdolled by people, and it showed in this match. Alex Windsor looked great. Persephone, of course, is someone that some Ring of Honor fans are used to seeing, and of course the MLL fans. Mercedes eking out the victory made perfect sense. It's what it needed to be. Her coming out with the bobbies, well, not the bobbies, the what do they call them? Oh my gosh, the guard, the royal guard. They have a nickname for them. The British guards, the not bobbies, because bobbies are the police guys. Yeah, I don't know. Someone else will tell me. But anyway, the fair cultured. Apparently, the gear that Mercedes was wearing was the gear she was supposed to wear in Boston for the episode where they overtook Nitro for most number of shows, but that gear didn't arrive in time. I was reading about that. This was her. That's why it was the NWO inspired gear. So instead, she wore it here, and I thought it fit. Again, great performance. I thought all 4 women looked great. It's really funny that in a match where Persephone is a strong opponent and a strong wrestler, she was like the least talked about, in my opinion, in the match, but she was still very strong in it because you had 3 other established women. But yeah, your thoughts? Mercedes walks out still TBS champion, and she can't find her belts now.
Thought everyone got to shine, which was the purpose of the match, and then Mercedes got the win, which also the purpose of the match. But she, narrowly escaped because she didn't have to lose. She didn't have to get pinned to lose the title, but she was smart enough to wait to capture the pinfall. But everyone looked really good. I mean, Mercedes kind of looked like the weakest of the 4, but again, I think that was by design. It's like Mercedes doesn't need to look strong. 1, she's winning. 2, she's Mercedes. Let everybody else look good and let Mercedes kind of eke things out, because she's the smartest of the bunch and she is still the best wrestler of the bunch. So I thought this accomplished everything that it needed to accomplish.
And now who's next for Mercedes? Honestly, I'd just do one-on-one with Alex
Yeah,
Windsor. That's
probably.
just me.
Yeah, I was going to say probably one-on-one with Windsor. Honestly,
I am waiting for them to announce Alex Windsor versus Marina Shafir for Wednesday. They should. We'll talk about that in a minute. Why they should.
I know. Okay,
It's pretty obvious why, and we'll get to that soon.
Yeah.
But Nigel McGuinness, Zack Sabre Jr., honestly, a match that I don't think anyone had in doubt in terms of the outcome. But first of all, let's get a hashtag Joel was right in the chat, because I sat here and I said, I don't think they're going to turn Daniel Garcia. And to your credit, you were like, oh, it's stupid if they don't. And it was kind of silly that they didn't on a bigger stage. But Daniel Garcia, he had the towel with him. That was certainly a minute that we were like, oh, okay. And then, of course, he doesn't throw in the towel. He just loses the match to Nigel McGuinness. And then Daniel Garcia gets in the ring. And they did this weird thing where Tony Schiavone's in the ring for what you thought was going to be an interview with Nigel McGuinness. Instead, it wasn't that. They just did the hug. They left. And then Tony just announced the attendance for the night. And that was it. So that was a little awkward. But Daniel Garcia doesn't turn. Zack Sabre Jr., Nigel McGuinness have a pretty solid match. And just a whole lot of technicality in that match. Technical spectacling.
They definitely did a great job of making you believe that it was going to be a turn, and then it wasn't. Is it going to be too late? Was this the right time? Like, how do you do it now? Like, maybe there's still ways to do it, obviously. Garcia could literally just come out on Dynamite Collision. But, like, I gave you the chance to win. You lost. You're not as good as you thought you were. Type of thing. There's still ways to do it, and maybe they get there, maybe they don't. Maybe they at some point do a Garcia Nigel one-on-one match. We'll see. Brian Danielson's so good. I know that's not like surprising to anybody.
Breaking news.
But the way he just explains things is so good. The way he's talking about this match, I love that he's like, I'm not going to take a bunch of shots at Nigel. Like, I got a lot of respect for him and everything. My commentary is going to be different. But explaining that, Nigel is more just as like a game plan with things, while Zach is more, he'll go in there, he'll feel you out, and he'll counter, and he'll go where the match kind of takes him with things. The body slam stuff with, I believe it was the Fletcher match he was talking about, like, he just breaks things down in such a good way and fills in so many technical gaps when it comes to wrestling that makes the matches feel bigger and better than maybe they do. Not to say that these matches were bad or anything, but when you have a commentator who's actually trying to give you insights instead of just cracking jokes and I'm all for popping yourself and everything, but you can make the matches feel bigger than they are when you got somebody like him on commentary. Match was very good. I thought the crowd was respectful for really a lot of stuff. We didn't talk about the crowds too much, but it felt like they were just like waiting for moments a lot of times. And not to say they weren't into things, but I don't think they were as into things as we've seen from like past AEW crowds that are like really hot throughout. This crowd felt more like, okay, we're going to be respectful of the wrestling. Oh, there's a really cool spot. Let's cheer for that type of thing. And this was a match where they just didn't do a ton of cool spots. This was not going to be a big spot match. This was going to be a technical kind of slow paced match. Now they had some good spots. The lariat, especially, that he took Zack Sabre Jr.'s head off, and then they had some other stuff. And then the finish was kind of quick and out of nowhere. But yeah, it was not really in doubt, the match. I'm glad Nigel got this match, and it was good.
Yeah, again, it was the most beans on toast match you can get, but it was also a very solid match. It wasn't, it wasn't flippy do, but it was two guys who are technical wonders doing their thing. And Nigel's at a point in his career where I don't think anyone's expecting him to be what he was 20 years ago, but there's certainly an understanding that like he's still strong and he's still up with it. He can still wrestle, but he's not carrying an entire company that he doesn't work for. I like the Johnny Saint video that they did, the vignette where they go and they play chess. I thought that was very well done. Clearly, Johnny Saint no longer affiliated with WWE or the NXT UK brand as their general manager. But it was good to see Johnny Saint do that whole thing. But yeah, it was a solid match for what it was. It came together very quickly. And calling a technical spectacle to get to a world title match was exactly what you'd expect for a world title match that would become a technical spectacle. No surprise there. Good cool down match for an IWGP World Heavyweight title match. That's my favorite part. Anyway, what's next? World title? We talked about. No, we did. We did talk about the world title, but we didn't talk about the match itself.
Yeah.
We just talked about contracts.
Yeah.
MJF cannot beat Hangman. Well, he goads Hangman, but he doesn't. Hangman doesn't get caught. Hangman does use nefarious means to retain his title. MJF is upset, and now Hangman is still the champion. Mark Briscoe looks like a big old dumb bitch, but I thought the match was fine. I didn't fall in love with it. I thought that they've had better matches, MJF and Hangman. The story was good, but it wasn't as memorable. Again, we talked about it with Cam when he got here. The 3 count with the foot on the ropes was, really trying to put home, like, we did this. Remember, we did this spot. Remember when we did this? With Mark Briscoe, it was fine. But yeah, it was just, it wasn't as strong as it could have been, in my opinion. But I thought the match was fine. They just did it.
The work was good. The extracurriculars at the end, kind of dampened things. The foot on the rope, like, it was cute until MJ, like, everyone looked dumb in this situation. The referee looked dumb because he didn't single ring for the bell. Like, what referee does the 3 count and then doesn't ring for the bell? MJF looked dumb because he knew the ref was out. And with Briscoe, he immediately moved Mark's foot off the rope. So the ref, after ringing the bell, couldn't see it. And here, he just let Hangman's foot stay on the rope the whole time. So I thought MJF looked kind of stupid. Mark, that was just a weird thing with the security holding him back, and then he never got to MJ. Like, why tease that whole thing, but then you don't do it? Like, he doesn't get to MJF, or he doesn't really have any type of impact on the mat. Like, okay, he distracted MJF, so he couldn't remove Hangman's foot from, like, he still had plenty of time to do that. And, like, the security was still holding him back. Again, MJF just looked kind of stupid, because I would think MJF would be smart enough to just knock the foot off the rope, even as Mark was coming down. I think it would have been better if they do the pinfall, they ring the bell and everything, and MJF removes his foot off the rope, and they do the fake, he wins the title, Mark comes down, security's not holding it, the match is over, right? Security has no reason to hold him back at this point. The match is over. He comes down, Mark gets the attention of the referee, and Mark, like, and then they show the replay. Or they show the replay on the screen, they show the referee, because, again, this wasn't shown on television, but I can provide the insight here. When they showed the replay on Dynamite, MJF blocked Bryce from seeing it. So here, with Mark coming out to get Bryce's attention, so MJF cannot block him to show the replay, you kind of piece that together as well. And then the match restarts, and then you do everything from there. I'm not saying this would have been good, because I still don't like the overbooked nature of it. I think it would have made people look a lot better, and I think it would have just been better overall to piecing things together than what they did. I also don't love that, it was, a DQ and a count out, the title changes hands. And then MJF doesn't do, that seemed like the easiest spot to do. Have someone come down and act like they're going to hit you, but then Hangman cuts them off. It's such an easy spot. And they didn't do it. So
2 things. One, Zeno and I were saying Bryce is a bad ref in kayfabe. Then fire him in kayfabe. Like, that's the whole thing. If he's not good, if
all
you're not
these referees would be fired.
That's true. Rick Knox would be the first one out. But the point is, you you can't do this kayfabe. He's bad at his job, because in the real world, if you're bad at your job, unless you're a nepo baby, you're failing upwards. You get fired. You get canned. You don't get the opportunities. That being said, we'll move that aside. When Mark Briscoe came out, it could have been literally anyone else other than security holding him back. It could have been babyface wrestlers being like, no. If you get involved, MJF wins the title. Because you're going to go after MJF. You're going to get Hangman disqualified. And I know that the referee's out at this point, but the point is there could have been a voice of reason that stops Mark from doing what he was going to do, because Mark was blinded by his rage towards MJF. A babyface should have been out there to say, hey, idiot, if you do this, the guy who saved you is going to lose the title that he saved you for. And that could have been at least a story beat that would have worked. Instead, they had the security, and they got way too convoluted. They got way too cute, and everything kind of went the way it did. I just wish that the match had had a little more structure and a little bit more thought put into it from a producer perspective. The campfire price, he books everyone's travel. Then make his one job to book the damn travel. Hangman had to come to Dynamite on a damn trolley last week. That's poor travel. He should have had a car. He's their champion. What are you talking about? He's good at no jobs.
So you're saying Mark Briscoe comes out during the match and does this, or still like after? Everything as it was going down, everything, like, I know you had your idea of doing it afterwards. I would have done it just as it was, except now you have to take out the idea that the referee's out when Mark came out. So the referee still has to be like upright and knowing that Mark comes out, because he's blinded by his rage. So the referee has to be like, no, you do this, it's bad. But also you have a babyface who comes out and also stops Mark. You see what I'm trying to say? Yes, I get your point. I don't think it works, because theoretically the match was over. That's why I didn't like that.
The match wasn't over when Mark came out, was it?
Well, they counted the pin. They didn't ring the bell. That was the part that was so stupid.
Oh, yeah. That's the problem, is that the match was still technically going, even though it wasn't.
Yeah, that's why the whole thing was just dumb, because Bryce counted the pin, but then didn't ring the bell. Like, what referee counts the pin and then is like, oh, well, I'm not going to signal for the bell? Like, that's why the whole thing. That's why the whole thing was stupid. I like your idea of during the match, like during the actual match, Mark tries to come down and go after MJF. You don't even need a babyface to stop him. You just need like Hangman to be like, no. It's like, this is what he wants. Like, no. And then maybe another baby like Jet Speed or somebody comes out and is like, no, you gotta like, you can't do this right now. Get him later. Again, it was also an easy spot to have heels come out and try to attack Hangman, and Hangman's basically just got to like fight him off, or try to attack MJF to cause the DQ, and Hangman's got to fight them off so it doesn't happen. I just didn't think this match did anybody any favors. Like, I would have Hangman just one more clean, and I wouldn't have done all of this extracurricular nonsense. Even leading up to the match of contract execution, no contract execution. Just Hangman Page, you don't need to have a visual loss on him and then, okay, got the foot on the rope, but did he actually win? Should he have lost? Type of thing. And then the convoluted way of they did it, where everybody looks stupid. This wasn't good.
Yeah, and it should have been more than it was, and we'll see what they do on Dynamite to at least either not run it back, but at least explain some of it away. But we'll see. They might just kind of move on and that be it. And MJF has to go and figure out a way to call his shot next time, because he's only got a 1 week buffer when he does it. You can't just walk in and take it. That's what's going to be really interesting, is how do they make it so that MJF gets a leg up while having an entire week. His opponent has an entire week to get ready for it. How do you do it? Unless he hires someone to take them out before the match, and the match still happens because Hangman will not, he can't stop himself. We'll see. I am curious as to how they do that with the week between the announcement and the match.
I just think you build it on a week, and then that's
Seems
it.
bad.
I mean, they could. it has to be at least a week's notice, right? And theoretically, MJF could be like, I'm going to use my title shot at All In 2026. He could theoretically announce that on Wednesday. It doesn't have to be, okay, it's I want to do it next week. It could just be a year out and you go from there.
Yeah, King Potatoes, right? Cash and angles suck. It's such a you gotta get fun or convoluted, and I don't know how they're gonna figure it out. But
Yeah, I mean, it's
they'll
just
do it.
become such a thing in WWE. But even WWE, like they try to get rid of those briefcases pretty quickly. I mean, they did that this year, and of course, that all became a convoluted mess. Hey, look, we can say they suck, but that Naomi cash in hit pretty hard. Like
Yeah.
that was a good moment. So
Again, it's the moment and the element of surprise. That's what you sell these particular cash-ins on.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, real quick about Okada and Swerve. This was, I honestly, I don't have much to say about this match. This wasn't a match that blew me away. I've seen more out of Okada, and Swerve, of course, playing up the injury angle with his leg and with his knee. Really, what was the big news was Wardlow coming out at the end, and Nana taking out. Sorry, what was it? It was Swerve lost the match, and then Okada beat up Swerve with the chair in the ringside, and then Nana made the save with the lead pipe, and then Wardlow showed up and got rid of Nana and got rid of Swerve and joined the Don Callis family all in succession. And then, of course, Konosuke Takeshita comes out and eyes up Wardlow and is like, "Yeah, this guy's okay." And here we are. Wardlow joins the Don Callis family. They are somehow becoming the strongest and weirdest group in wrestling. And Wardlow's back, baby.
that happened in this. I thought Swerve and Okada was fine. It could have been better, probably. And I don't really know who to blame for that. Okada just kind of working the pace that he wanted to work in this match. And Swerve with the knee, the finish seemed a little out of nowhere as well. Like I think this was another match where the crowd was just like waiting for the big moments, and then there just wasn't that many big moments, and then the finish hit, and it's like, oh, it's over. I thought we were gonna get more out of this match. The post-match stuff, Okada taking out Swerve was a choice. I'm not saying it was a bad choice, but when you had Wardlow there, it almost seemed like, why didn't you go with Wardlow taking out Swerve in that spot and not Okada? Like, Okada doesn't need to. I did like Excalibur, or it was, no, Danielson. Again, Danielson, so great. I did love Danielson saying he just took out the most dangerous man in AEW, so by proxy, now Okada is the most dangerous man in AEW. I did like that, and maybe that was the goal, or Bryan Danielson being awesome kind of saved things with it, but it seemed like it would have made a little more sense of Wardlow's the one to take him out. Then you have the ready-made feud with Wardlow, although you still have that with Wardlow taking out Nana, so it still kind of works. Wardlow being back is fine. We'll see. It's tough to, in 2025, be like, all right, Wardlow, big push incoming, because we've seen that too many times, and now he's part of a Don Callis family, which you already got attention on Fletcher. You've got attention on Okada because he's still part of the Don Callis family, even he's still with the Elite as well, but he's still there. Takesha's back. I imagine Takesha's turning, and that's going to be a big spot for Takesha and a big babyface push for him, I would imagine. You've got Josh Alexander, who now is kind of fading into the background a little bit there. Archer's there, kind of take pins. Hechicero is he's not there to take pins, but they've put some equity into him, certainly with beating Bandito and now facing Bandito on Friday. So you got a lot of people in this group, and you would think Wardlow is going to be one of the bigger players, but I don't think he's a bigger player than, at the moment, Takeshita, Fletcher, and Okada.
Wardlow and Josh Alexander as a tag team. That's all you need.
I like that.
Could do that, and
I think that would be great, actually. think that would make a lot of sense for both guys too.
Yeah, and again, that's why I'm not going to Lance Archer, because I think Archer just kind of, he's got his spot. He is very much big dude who throws people around, and I'm fine with that. You do that. You had Brian Cage and Lance Archer doing their thing, but I'd rather not just rehash that with a replacement for Brian Cage. I'd rather take two guys who, just like Brodito, like they were kind of rudderless, and they had their spots, but they weren't being, they weren't getting much out of them. So now you, other than Ring of Honor champion, but now you get the opportunity to put Wardlow and Josh Alexander together, see what they do as a tag team, and then someone's going to break out of that. Both men have their own histories with major promotions doing major things in AEW or in Impact. Yeah, I'll count Impact as a major promotion in this case, because Josh made his name there. Josh really did. Between the World Championships and the X Division Championships, like he's done stuff. Putting them with Don Callis is fine. It doesn't hurt me any. Don Callis just continues to have a ridiculous amount of people in his employ, and Takeshita is going to be the reason for its downfall. It will eventually be that either Takeshita has such an ego about him that it blows up the Don Callis family, or he's going to leave and then he's going to have to feud with the entire Don Callis family, which, well, I'll pick your poison in that case. IWGP champion Konosuke Takeshita versus Don Callis family members 1 through 7. That being said, Wardlow, Josh Alexander, make them a tag team. Let them run. Let them do it. Let them win the ROH tag titles and go from there. It's not like anyone else holds them right now.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with the.
Told you. They dropped the video, the music video, the Italian sausage meatballs video. Make the Justice Clan, make them the champions of Ring of Honor. I'm telling you, man, Rizzler's the champ, the world champion. Tag champion should be Big Boom. Not even that should be Big Justice and the Rizzler. The trios champion should be Big Boom AJ, the Rizzler, and Big Justice. Mama Justice should be the women's world champion. You got Sister Justice, she should be the TV champion, and Deonna Purrazzo should be the women's pure champion. The other titles can go to hell. I don't care. That's it.
Yeah, I'm for it.
Give Bozilla the other titles and just be like, I don't care what you do. Just walk around with them. Bozilla is now the pure champion. Perfect. And the TV champion. I'm the pure television champion. Anyway, and then we got to talk about the main event. They put a giant steel cage around the perimeter of the ring. They did not put a top on it. And they did the match. Then they beat each other senseless for about 30 minutes. Ospreay and Co. It was Ospreay, Darby Allin, Tanahashi, Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi. They beat the Death Riders, the Young Bucks, and Gabe Kidd. This match was very much all over the place in a good way. They had a lot of fun. They did. This is where I hate wrestling and watching too much wrestling. Is I don't like watching wrestlers set up for spots when other wrestlers finish their spots in multi-man matches. You know what I'm saying? When you're watching 3 people in the ring set up, do a big spot, whoa, crowd reacts, and then they all roll out, and then 3 more people roll into the ring and they do a spot, and whoa, and then it all just kind of go, and then that's just kind of what wrestling has become in some ways. You build to the next spot. That kind of annoys me, and I saw a lot of that in this match. But there was a lot of really good storytelling in this match. There was a lot of fun in this match. The stuff with the Young Bucks continues to be hilarious, where they come out and they want the serious intro, and then they get Mbop, and the entire crowd singing along to it. Kenny Omega looks not great. He looks beat up, quite frankly. But Kota Ibushi looked good. Darby Allin was a crazy, crazy ass man. And Tanahashi cannot jump off of high things because he's not being allowed to. But it was again solid, just a solid match, and then we'll talk about the actual finish, the ending credits. But this was very much the Will Ospreay clan leading his group into victory, with Darby as well. There's a larger story at play. Your thoughts on the match itself?
They got Mbop, which ruled. That was very funny.
Did anyone ask Tony if that's in perpetuity? And how much it cost? That's the info I need.
Yeah, No, they should have asked that about that, honestly.
Cowards. That's why I go to these shows, to find out how much people spend on wrestling themes.
Yeah, you would have definitely asked that
100%.
question of how much Umbop would have cost.
I could probably just ask Hanson. Let's see. Hanson Brothers. Let's see. Are they on Twitter? Hanson Brothers. Oh, God damn it. Hanson Brothers beer. Oh, Hanson Music. Yeah, I don't know what that's about. Okay, they tweet. All right, I can do this.
Are you asking them?
Yeah. You keep
Okay.
talking, and then I'll read back the tweet when I'm done.
Okay. All right, so I love that they got Umbop for it, and I think a lot of people, or some people, pointed out when the Bucks asked for their, their last or their old theme, they're like, "Oh, are we gonna get Umbop?" And that's exactly what we got. Kenny Omega was vibing. Bless Kenny Omega that he was completely vibing to the Umbop. I liked this match. I didn't love this match. Maybe I'm in the minority here. Here was my issues with it. It felt like there was... I'm being blocked by Wayback Machine. They're stupid. Anyway,
Oh, I thought you meant literally blocked.
no.
As in they're not helping you.
I mean, they're not helping me, but... So, my issues with this match was nothing to do with the work, as it rarely is. It was kind of the tone and the gravity of the match, where you had Gabe Kidd, who hadn't really been on TV. He just got done out of the done out of the G1. He just got done with the G1, and he couldn't even compete in the G1. So him not being part of the television, Kenny and Kodo weren't part of the television at all. Tanahashi was there on Collision or Dynamite, and that was kind of it. Like, they're just... So you had basically half the field not really being part of the TV buildup for this. So you were relying a lot on the Death Riders and Darby and Osprey, which was a good story, which, they've told for a while with those guys. But when, again, half the field wasn't on TV, it just felt like something was missing from the build for a lights-out steel cage match. If this is just all-star 10-man tag, okay, fine. But lights-out steel cage match implies kind of blood feud, and we're going to end this thing. Where, again, the gravity going into it didn't really connect with that. The gummy bear spot was very funny. But again, was it good for the gravity of this match?
No, it's a Young Bucks match, stupid. It's a Young Bucks match.
It was fun. I enjoyed it. But the tone of them using the gummy bears, and I know it was, they got tricked into it. It was like, haha, see, it's not all seriousness with this. And it's like, okay. So it's not it's kind of saying, don't take this as serious as it should be, which, again, I don't think should be the tone for a lights-out steel cage match. The other thing is, we just had Anarchy in the Arena and the Texas Death Match leading up to it. And so when you've already done 2 matches like this, it's tough to have now a third match, which kind of had lower stakes than the other. Certainly the Texas Death Match had much lower stakes. The Anarchy in the Arena felt like it had higher stakes than this. And at least with those on the build-up, there was a lot more cohesion to the build-up and a lot more presentness to the build-up than this. So you're looking at your third match in kind of 3-4 months of sort of the same car crashness when it comes to these types of matches. All that to say, it was a very good match. It was fun. There was stuff I did like in it. I thought the work was good, but there was just some gravity and tone issues that I was like, all right. And maybe that was the point, Maybe that was the point of, yeah, it's lights out steel cage, but we're going to it's not as serious as we need it to be. But then when you do the closing angle, it's like, all right, well, how serious am I supposed to take this now? I just thought gummy bears in this lights out steel cage match. Again, just there were some tonal issues with
maybe the
with
gummy bears were
everything.
frozen. Maybe they were frozen gummy bears.
Maybe.
It's cold.
I feel like they would have thawed out a little bit by the time they, got in the mouth of the Bucks.
Fair. So I want to shout out John Moxley. He understands me. He gets me, because I had tweeted earlier in the day that cage match tonight better include doors and a fork. Forbidden Door. And the man brought it out. He did it right. Thank you, John Moxley, for using the fork.
Man,
always use
John Moxley. Yes.
I did send out the tweet, by the way. Dear at Hanson Music, please tell us how you and your team came to license Mbop for the Young Bucks at AEW Forbidden Door this past weekend. Feel free to add your comments at Tony Khan. Signed, that guy who asks about wrestling music rights in wrestling. We'll see. Let's see who gets to it. So go ahead, go engage with that. It's over on at Joel Pearl. I'm sure that everyone's going to treat me nicely for having asked that question. These are the questions that they should have been asking at the scrums, but damn it, nobody wants to be a professional anymore. This goddamn company. Anyway, cage match. Generally agree with what you're saying. There is a interesting technically story here. This was very much Ospreay overreaching to take his shot at John Moxley in a story that wasn't his to begin with. This was a Darby story. This was supposed to be Darby coming for everything. And when Darby made the challenge for Forbidden Door, Moxley said no. And then Ospreay coming back and being like, screw you, lights out, 10-man tag, that kind of forced Moxley's hand in a way. The Darby story is still very much there. Darby needs to be annoyed with Will Ospreay for everything that happened, but because of everything that happened after the cage match, now Darby is also going to want to get some modicum of revenge further on the Death Riders and everyone involved in that. So there's something at play, and there should be something at play, but this was Darby coming back for revenge and then not being able to get the revenge he wanted. Ospreay got the revenge he wanted, and he won the match. Like the team won the match. Tanahashi got the pin, but Will pays the ultimate price because the story became Will got a little too full of himself in kayfabe, right? He's like, I'm hurt. I might need to go away for a while. I still need to kick your ass because I'm okay enough to do that. Darby the whole time was just like, I just want to play mind games and kill this man without saying it, because Darby's smart enough not to say I'm going to kill you in wrestling, because that's not what you do. So you have this potential story here. And I hope more people kind of think about the fact that Darby didn't start this. Like Darby didn't cause this match. Ospreay caused this match. And now Ospreay got taken out of this match that he caused. And Darby has nothing to do now but go after the people who did it and basically go forward with his own revenge. So there's something there. I just don't know how they'll get there or how they'll get to it.
Darby's going to kill everybody. That's how you get to
it. The fork. He's going to use the fork. Darby and Moxley one-on-one is inevitable. I don't know when. I don't know how long they want to stretch that out. That could be an all-out match. But I also agree with you that you've done the cage match, you've done the Texas Death match, you've done Anarchy in the Arena, like you've done all of these like hardcore plunder matches. I think we can lay off a little bit and maybe take our foot off the gas when it comes to doing a hardcore match for the sake of it and having like next match is another. Like, you can't do another cage match. You can't do the woman's blood and guts match that everyone keeps talking about wanting to do. That you can't necessarily do right away again. I think we can kind of take a break from the hardcore matches for a minute, but also the crowd likes it. So like, who am I to make that assumption?
They're also going to do it with Darby and Moxley.
Presumably, yes. Bring back the exploding barbed wire death match. Make good on it this time.
You can keep doing them. My issue isn't even so much that they've done them so much in a row. I do think it hurt this particular match by doing it, but this particular match was just hurt more so by the things leading up to it, in that this was the third in kind of a series of similar casting characters overall. And because you had guys off television, or you had guys that weren't really involved in all of this, it didn't feel like it had the gravity. Darby and Mox is going to have the gravity. Women's Blood and Guts is going to have the gravity. They've been building those. Those make sense to do these things. So I don't think those are going to be hurt at all. This was just a concoction of multiple things that hurt it overall, where I don't think moving forward we're going to quite get those things that will hold it back. To the way I feel this one got held back a little bit.
So Will Ospreay is in the ring celebrating after everything.
This sucked.
Baby faces have all left the ring, and they said, "It's your moment, Will. You go get him." And Will celebrating, and as he's exiting the ring, you have Claudio Castagnoli do the running uppercut out of nowhere, and then all the heels go and beat the shit out of Will Ospreay, including the chair neck spot. I got to tell you, one thing that was funny was I went and I was kind of paying attention at the finish, and I was like, where are all the bad guys at the end of this match? Like, where is everyone? And I know that Gabe Kidd got taken out by Darby Allin from the big table spot outside of the ring. You had Yuta get taken out by Darby by sending him off the cage onto the announce table. The Young Bucks were in the ring. Claudio had gotten taken out by the Hidden Blade or one of the finishes, and then he was out of the ring. Moxley was outside of the cage. So I'm like, where was everyone positionally? And then the Young Bucks, they lost the match. They ate the pin. So I was like, okay, they're fine. They're the jobbers. They lose. But then I'm like, wait, Claudio's still in the ring. So it made perfect sense for him to start this whole melee with Ospreay. And the whole time, Ospreay's like, he didn't notice that he was there. So then they do the Pillmanizer. They beat him up. They do the thing. And of course, as everyone's pointed out, all the baby faces are suddenly unable to climb an open top cage, which I understand in the case of Hiroshi Tanahashi, who probably could have scaled the cage much faster than everyone else because he was also the freshest since he wasn't allowed to scale the cage. But yeah, all the baby faces don't go after the heels in the cage. They're all afraid of Marina Shafir and her kendo stick. And that was till the ops came out. Nothing could stop them. Wasn't very well done.
Nah, this looked very stupid. I think the baby faces looked really dumb here. Ospreay, by the way, like trying to get Tanahashi back in the ring, and the ref being like, "No, you have to leave the ring because we got to do this angle." Was very funny.
No, bro, I've got a feeling.
It was like, why did the baby faces leave? Why didn't they make sure all the heels were out? Because you could see Claudio clearly still in the ring and everything. It all looked dumb. I don't know why the baby faces didn't just hang out around the ring, clap for Ospreay as he got his moment, and then when they could have climbed, why they didn't just climb the cage. I don't get the kendo sticks. They were outnumbered on there. They could have climbed. Wheeler Yuta and Marina were the only person throwing around kendo sticks. Kenny, Kota, Tanahashi all could have climbed. They should go around the ring and start climbing. They all just stood in one spot. Kota just punching the door and everything. Like, which was hilarious, yes.
So stupid.
It was absolutely hilarious. I saw Tana climb the ladder. So I know Kota had to force him down, but we saw Tana climb the ladder. You can't tell me that Tana can't climb up there.
That man can clean the gutters. You stop it. He can clean the gutters at home. He's fine. He can climb up. Just because on Saturday or on Wednesday he looked bad doesn't mean that he looked bad on Sunday. He was fine. He was wrapped up. It's fine. Why? So Ryan brings this up, and this is what I was getting at. On Wednesday, if they don't announce Marina Shafir versus Alex Windsor, then you're missing an opportunity. Alex Windsor should be absolutely incensed that her partner was completely destroyed and Marina was the person who actually like stopped it in a way. She should want that match, and Alex Windsor should get that match because she did the overdub. She did the voiceover on the Osprey video. They should absolutely do it, but we'll see what they do if they do it.
And people say, "Oh, Tanahashi can't climb." Then he's there as the decoy to be thwarted as he attempts to climb, and they keep trying to beat him with the stick. Meanwhile, Kenny needs to go to the other side of the cage, and Coda needs to go to one of the sides of the cage. Then you got Hobbs and Joe and everybody running down. They need to go. They're all just standing on that one area of like, let us in, let us in. It's like there's 4 sides to this giant ass cage. There's only 2 people whacking you off with a stick there. What are we doing?
Admittedly, in the match at one point they do try to get through the sides. Yeah, the sides were tight to get through, so I do give that a little bit of credence. But if you know that, then you just go around the audience, or like you get on top of the barricade and you walk across, and then you climb up. They didn't.
They just stood there, and it's like, let us in.
It was the fact that they were working as if there was a top on the cage that didn't exist.
Yeah.
And that should have.
There's no defending this. The baby faces look stupid. Like, you can try to defend it, and I know people are, but the baby faces just look dumb here. Just standing there, like, let's shake the cage, please stop this. You know what should have happened, Joel?
They should all turn heel, and they should all say we wanted Osprey to get beat up. And they should all join the Death Riders.
The baby faces should have just... It could have just gotten in. And then the heels should just beaten them up afterwards. Osprey was taken out. Oh, Kenny gets in. I think the Bucks were gone at this point. The Bucks should have hung around out there. And they just would have had the numbers advantage. And then they just take out the baby faces. And then they do what they want to do to Osprey. But by trapping them on the outside, they just look dumber. And the Bucks were there, even better. Then great. The babyface should have just got in. As Kenny was getting in, the door should have been slammed on his head or something. Yeah, the babyface says the numbers once the Ops came down. The Ops took 20 minutes to get down there. They weren't there at the very beginning. So the babyfaces did not have the numbers to start the attack. Osprey was out. Darby and Gabe canceled each other out. The heels have Marina, Yuta, the Bucks, Moxley, Claudio. The babyfaces got Tana, Kenny, and Coda. That's it. Heels could have easily outnumbered and just taken them out as they got into the cage, but they just did the full number on Osprey after they'd already just they continue to beat down the heels. That would have been better than them just looking completely stupid like this.
Yeah, just it needs explanation. It needs something. And again, on Wednesday they have the opportunity to do it because it looked not great. So we'll see what they do, but that's Forbidden Door. And again, the story of Darby going after Moxley is not over. Gabe Kidd, when they did that spot on going for the tables, you can audibly see Gabe, not audibly, you can visually see Gabe Kidd like have that look on his face. Was like, oh shit, we got to do this now. Where he's got to be brought down onto the tables. It's a very funny sight if you go back and watch it. He did his best in that match, man. I don't know what his injury status is from that knee hyperextension that took him out of the G1, but I can only hope that everyone comes out of this, everyone else comes out of this as unscathed as possible, and nobody looks to be out any longer than originally planned.
After the heels had beaten down all of the baby faces and Will Ospreay's dead, then we should have had a man descend from the rafters in the Sting mask and everything. And he's got a spike with him, Joel. And you think it's one thing, but no. He's spiking the heels. That's right. Babyface Jack Perry jacking off all over the heels, baby, because Matt Jackson won't pick up his damn phone when he's trying to call to return back. And Jack is back to ejaculate all over All Elite Wrestling. He's taking out the Bucks. And he's not a good guy either. He's not a bad guy. He's just Jack Perry, baby.
He's the guy.
That's right.
Just Jack.
That's what should have happened. The show ends with Jack Perry standing tall.
By the way, shout out to this weekend. While I wasn't there, I understand Sting was gifted a box of cereal. Good for him. This was at the Toronto Fan Expo. Looking good, Sting. Looking good. Jacking off. Anyway, AEW returns to the UK mid-December, and they're going to be back in Australia mid-February. That is official, and the dates have been made. There is a House Rules show in Australia, so we'll see if that ends up becoming a different show than originally. It's going to become a Collision before you know it. And the UK return was a bit of a surprise. I'm sure WWE will be back in the UK around that time as well, just to show we love the UK too. They're going to eat well. Anything else from Forbidden Door that you want to bring up?
No, it's a good show.
A lot of strong points, but a few sticking points that could have been just cleaned up with a little bit of communication. That was fine. We don't have a ton of time to talk about Heatwave. The only two major things that weren't talked about when Cam was here, because he talked about Ricky Saints confronting Obafemi after the match. New tag champions, your favorites, Dark State, have finally done it. They finally won.
Yeah.
And Ash by Elegance captures the Knockouts World Championship. Carlos Silva, he's very excited about this. Meanwhile, it's very funny to watch like the two stories. One is, oh, Ash deserves it. She's amazing, and da. And then the other side is like, oh, and TNA got their title back, I guess. there was no elation for that moment. So clearly the Knockouts title was just kind of second.
As I said on Friday, I figured they would do the title change, and I figured JC Jane was not going to get pinned because that's the obvious thing, and that's exactly what happened.
I've said it once, and I've said it a billion times. Ash by Elegance is a deserving person to hold that title. When she came into TNA, they exercised restraint and did not put the title on her. And I really do appreciate that they let her explore the story and the character that she has with the Elegance and she's learned a lot and she's done a lot. And I think that it's well deserved. It really makes whatever is going to happen at Bound for Glory that much weirder. But we'll see where it leads from there. They have a number one contender, so at least allegedly they do. So there it is. But Heatwave was fine. It's an inoffensive watch if you have the time and you want to scroll through it. The matches were fine. Monroe and Grace had a good match. Spoiler alert, Blake Monroe did very well and won. And now there's a crisis of confidence for Jordan Grace. But go watch the show. It was fine.
I'm glad everybody got my Jack Perry reference. Yes, besides the usual Jack Perry reference, yes. BTE just posted a video of them not answering Jack Perry's phone call, but it feels like we're close, folks. It feels like we're close.
It's gonna happen, baby.
We're edging. We're getting right there. Those final moments before we ejaculate.
I mean, they were edging at the beginning of the show. He came out in that big jacket like he was that character again. He was edging you on. He's got you. And he was facing the guy who brought his pal back to life. We're all edging over here. Ready for it. Speaking of edging, finally, the very final thing we have to talk about, the big work that is carrying Cross.
Oh.
Cross showed up in GCW with Scarlett, helped Shotzi defeat Matt Cardona, and now Cardona and Cross have a match at House of Glory. So they're cross branding this whole thing. But yeah, the Cross showed up in GCW. That's an exciting piece of news. And Nick Gage also made his return to GCW on the first night of the Homecoming event, which honestly, the shows were solid. Shout out to the death match between Tremont and Bear Bronson. That was a hell of a night 2 finish. Go check that out. Don't be squeamish, but if you are squeamish, maybe don't watch the match. But yeah, Cross is in GCW for now, and he's starting to work indies and make appearances.
Yeah, he's facing Cardona at House of Glory coming up. AJ Gray also returned on night one. So you figured if Cross is going to show up anywhere, GCW was going to make a lot of sense for him. I don't want him to do the over-reliance on fuck, because that backstage promo with him, Shotzi, and Scarlett, where it was every other word and everything. I get it, it's GCW style, so it kind of works, but then you just run the risk of almost Shane Douglasing yourself. It's like, all right, can you, like, we know Cross is a good promo and can get stuff over without having to say these words, so don't rely on it so much when it comes to that. And I think Cardona leaned into that a lot. It's like, oh, I have to because it's the indies and it's GCW, so I have to say these words. And it's like, you don't fully have to. Like, we know you're kind of good enough without doing that. But it was a good appearance. I like the group of Shotzi, Scarlett, and Cross. You know, when we had Shotzi on, she was very complimentary of Scarlett. She said she put all the titles on Scarlett. So we'll see. Cross is going to continue to make indie dates, and we'll see what that fully leads to with him.
See you in Saudi Arabia carrying Cross and your wife. I don't know. We'll see. But it's nice to see them pop up, and I agree with you. Hopefully no over-reliance on the F-bombs, just to make a point. Is there anything else we need to get to before we get on out of here? Because we did an extra long episode, as we do. Raw's on in 2.5 hours.
Yeah, that's true. The Raja Jackson situation. I know people mentioned that at the top of the show, and Cam kind of mentioned that as well. Like, it's certainly worth pointing out. For those who have not seen the video, I don't suggest seek it out or anything, but obviously if you want to be abreast on the situation, then it might be worth seeking out and seeing what the hell we're talking about. A lot of people were in the wrong here, and Raja being the biggest person in the wrong, but just garbage from many parties in here of go get your receipt and nobody pulling him off, and him going as far as he did. Just terrible acts that went down at Nox Pro. I've seen, Nox Pro's a WWE ID school. It's run by Rikishi. It seems like they've removed branding from their social media. I've checked their social media. Certainly can't find it. Their website still has WWE ID branding, but their website also looks like it hasn't been updated since they got WWE ID branding, and like barely works. But it's not on like any of their social media or anything. Their website's still selling tickets to the event this past weekend, much less upcoming stuff. I assume Rikishi will address stuff on his podcast. Great. They put out a statement saying, that it was a planned spot as far as, I guess Raja was supposed to get involved and just go after Psycho Stu, but clearly to not that extent, and just terrible all around. And the guy, I get his name because I actually want to call him out, because he should be called out on this. But the guy wearing the cowboy hat in the video telling Raja to get his receipt and everything.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, do you have his name? AJ Mana is his name.
Yeah, I just got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that dude, what the fuck are we doing with this stuff? Like, none of it looks good. I've all the videos and everything like all the videos look bad. All of it looks bad. And people got to be held accountable for this. You know, there's the report that the LAPD was investigating this. There's a lot of evidence. I mean, the whole thing streamed on Raja's video.
Plenty of video. That's
Yeah.
sure. And also video of all the other stuff that led to this moment. There is a case to be built off of this. There are plenty of people who will talk about it and you know, explain what was happening.
I think if you're defending Raja, you got to take a look in the mirror of what you're actually defending. There is no amount of receipt that goes into something like this. You can only defend, well, somebody should have pulled him off sooner. Like, yeah, one, I agree. But two, that doesn't explain why you're landing so many uninterrupted blows in that manner. Like, he was throwing down like it was an MMA fight out there, just going until the ref pulled him off. It's not an MMA fight. He shouldn't have been in that position in the first place, honestly. In actual MMA fights, I mean, they do allow open KO shows like that. It's on the referee to pull that person off. I can go back and watch, I hate to say it, use that example. Go back and watch Rampage and Wanderlei Silva 3. Everybody. The UFC fight, not the two Pride fights. The UFC fights. Rampage knocks him out pretty cleanly, and then he lands some extra blows afterwards. Even as the referee is trying to pull him away, Rampage is still just kind of, he's going to land a couple more because of the history that they had. It does happen in MMA. Dan Henderson, the famous, H-bomb on Michael Bisping, he knocks Bisping out completely cold, and then he drops down, much like Ilya Dragunov, just with a big old forearm smash onto Michael Bisping. Doesn't need to, but the referee doesn't jump in time. So sure, there might be an argument of somebody should have pulled Raja off quicker than they did. But this is wrestling. He shouldn't have been in that position to be landing these blows. And if he knows it is wrestling, he shouldn't have been throwing the strikes in that manner. You got the receipt on the first one. Like, you got it. You don't need to throw 20 more on top of that. You knocked him out with the slam. He was out on the slam. You don't need to go further than that with things. He's got to be held accountable. Knox Pro's got to be held accountable. The people in his ear have to be held accountable. Just terrible situation. And I hope the best for Psycho Stu. It sounds like he's at least up and conscious and talking and doing as well as one can be given everything.
Yeah, I think there was an update from his brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 12 hours ago. So stable but in critical care. At this time, we're focused on his recovery and appreciate all support. We do not have a GoFundMe. Any links posted are not affiliated with us. So that is something worth noting as well.
That's good clarity, because I'm sure plenty of people have tried to act like there is one. And I mean, I think, I'm not telling them what to do, but I think they would get a lot of support if they did. I saw Mr. Beast, offered to help and everything. I think they would get a lot of support if they decided to do that. Well, he's an independent wrestler. I can't imagine he's making enough ends meet to pay for whatever these hospital bills are likely going to be. And I'm sure Knox Pro ain't even probably making enough to where they're going to be able to cover this. So I do think Knox Pro should be covering it, honestly, but I would imagine that they're not going to, and they probably don't have the means to even do such a thing.
I do wonder if Keish mentions anything on his podcast. I don't think he should, if there is going to be an ongoing investigation behind it, which, again, it seems like there is from the LAPD side. So you very well may not hear anything until it's closed. It's disgusting. There's no other way to put it. I can't underline that enough. If you see the video, and I honestly don't think you should seek it out, I think the way Jeremy explained it is exactly how it went down. It's bad, and everyone here should be held accountable. And wrestling is not made for those moments. Wrestling is not it's not MMA, and it's certainly not a sport, if you want to call it whatever. It's not an activity that you just let shit happen. There is a trust with your opponent. Receipts are not assault. Receipts are, I got potatoed by you in a match, I get one in on you next time, but also within reason. It's eye for an eye. It's not anything more than that. And from every account and everything that happened, there is nothing that warranted what happened in that ring.
I think Rikishi should say something, even if he just reads the statement Nox Pro put out. I don't think he should.
Doesn't need to go any further than that.
I mean, it'd be nice if he did, honestly, but I understand your point of it could be legal and lawsuits, and he doesn't want to open himself up to anything, but he's got to say something. He can't just, if his next podcast is just like, can't believe Jey Uso didn't win the world title at Clash in Paris, and that's all he talks about, fuck that.
Well, I mean, fuck that podcast most of the time. But I agree with you. I think acknowledging it insofar as just reading the statement is about as good as it could get. But again, from a legal standpoint, don't further incriminate yourself in a situation that you are. It's an unwinnable situation for Nox Pro at this point. There's plenty pointing out their involvement and their students' involvement, and it's messed up. But again, I don't want to focus on who's going to get money out of this. I want to focus on the fact that there is someone who is in hospital due to a very disgusting situation that unfolded, and that no one should ever have to see that live to begin with, because you're an unwilling participant at that point. If you're just if you're just watching as a fan, that's a whole other part of this whole thing. So that some people had to sit and bear witness to that, and that's traumatic. I hope no one has to deal with that ever live. And there's someone in the hospital who did not deserve that, and there's someone who, you know, is rightfully being investigated for their actions, and hopefully is held accountable for what they did. And the people who were involved in it should also be dealt with as such.
Yeah, it's terrible, and best to Psycho Stu. Hopefully, you know, he's able to hopefully he comes out okay, because that was very rough situation.
Raw tonight. Well, Raw this afternoon on Netflix, Birmingham, England. Roman Reigns opens the show. Nikki Bella calls out Becky Lynch. Penta versus Kofi Kingston. And what is it? Rhea Ripley against Roxanne Perez. I don't think anything else is added, right?
No, that's all.
Okay.
I was thinking about the Penta and Kofi and Xavier Woods. Xavier Woods posted, a video. He's in a neck brace, and he says he has a serious neck injury. I don't know how much of that is work and how much is legit. The fact that he posted the video and it's from the Destroyer, it makes me believe it's a work stuff, but you never know nowadays with these things. So hopefully Woods is okay, and he's just working, brother.
Yeah, hopefully he's fine, but we'll see. Regardless, there was Woods does a bit before Dragon Con where he gets injured. That's a whole thing, and Dragon Con starts on the 28th. Okay. So there is that. And I think Sean also made reference to that in his Q&A. So yeah, I remember reading that, but here we are. There we go. Sorry, getting messages about other stuff. So let's get on out of here. Go watch Raw or don't. It's on at 3:00 Eastern, or you can watch it later, whenever, because it's Netflix. So just get on it. Jeremy, is there anything else we need to talk about? Can we go home?
I don't think so.
I'm very hungry. I am very home. I'm very hungry too. So for Jeremy, for me, go interact with that Hanson tweet. Let's get answers from Hanson about how much Umbop cost AEW, and Tony's going to weigh in too, I hope. So for us, for you, 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. Ladies, gentlemen, friends beyond the binary, we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.